Hello, it's time for Type 40 Live, you lucky, lucky people. The live stream Doctor Who magazine show here across Rumble X, YouTube, and Facebook. Streaming live on all things Doctor Who for our sins from right the way back then when it all began, to the right here and the right now where nothing's really happening. It all went proper south, didn't it? With a flash and a bang, but definitely gone south. We've got just as many questions as you have. Let's answer some of them on this edition of the show. Yeah, you too, Jackie. We're all hands on deck for this one. No holds barred. Well, sort of. Just don't mention the timeless child. It's the Big Who, Type 40 Live. And where else could we be than returning to the scene of the crime? We've cleaned up as best we can. The JB still isn't working. No, not the John Barrowman. I don't think he's working that much either. The jukebox isn't working very well at all. But maybe between us, and we'll kick it and have a modge, have a fiddle, and we'll see if any tune starts playing for us all to dance to anyway. Hope you've got some questions in mind, things to talk about. You'd be surprised how much there is to talk about when you gather together here in the console room with a bunch of good mates. Hello, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. We'll find out who you are in a moment or two, whether you're on Rumble, X, YouTube, or Facebook. Hello, and welcome. This is squeaky bum time for any content creator, because this is where we sort of hand it over to you, sort of, most of the time. So don't let the power go to your head. Think of a good old question from either This Week in Who or stretching right the way back. Maybe it's something for the future. We'll do everything that we can to answer it in the best, most clear voices we can, I suppose. Here from the really quite cold and grey and horrible console room. Apparently, it is still erect on site at Bad Wolf, which is a frightening thought. Anyway, so who's coming on first? This time, stop chuckling. He's chuckling already, our special guest. We'll come to him in a moment or two. First of all, I'm happy to welcome back, having run in his new mic. New mic, same mouth, same hooligan. It's Luke Walters.
Hello. Yeah, literally, I just managed to get. Oh my god, I got a hat on because my hair is awful. I thought I joined the hat gang. So
the hat gang.
Not that other people on this podcast tonight are wearing all hats. So a bit of a giveaway there. I mean, Gary's always in a hat anyway, isn't he? So
he's never fully dressed with his cap, Gary. No.
Rumor has it he actually wears nothing from the hat down at times. So that's what I've heard. That's us doing the rounds on Reddit.
It could be an urban legend. Maybe don't ask that question when he comes on.
That was my first question. Ask him anything. What's he wearing underneath that hat?
How's your week been, mate? Good.
Yeah, manic. Yeah, manic, as you can see. But good. So Scream 7. It's okay.
7 of those now.
Yeah, it was okay. Mildly disappointing. It was a good film up until the ending. Till the killer reveal, which was very, very. Yeah,
because I love those movies. The first 3 were sort of fundamental. They were must-see movies.
Love the Scream movies. They're so good. And Matthew Lillard and Screech Ulrich are in Manchester now in a couple of weeks.
Are they really?
Oh yes, yeah. So
Scream icons, because they made the 4th one. Well, Wes Craven made the 4th one, so I watched that because obviously Wes Craven was still with us then. So I thought it had a sense of legitimacy about it, and I hated practically every second of it. So when I found out they were making more, I thought, well, those aren't going to be any good. But people love them, so it seems that I ought to get back on board because I think they've made another 3. But I can't really remember what happened in the
5 is good, 6 is good, 7's good. All the OG cast are back: Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Matthew Lillard, Screech Ulrich. They're all back. Everyone's back from the first film. And they're all spooky. Yeah, apart from that, good.
Yes, consider myself hyped. Now, consider me hyped.
And it's World Book Day as well, so happy World Book Day to everyone.
Even better. I'm somewhat of a lapsed reader. I mean, it's a good job there's not many bookcases in this one. They went from one extreme to the other, didn't they? But I know someone who is a very keen reader because she's always recommending them to me. Never read a single one of the ones she's recommended, but she still keeps recommending them anyway, don't you, Charlotte?
Keep trying, folks, to educate him. So, hello, everybody.
People have been trying for decades, Charlotte.
It's funny you mention books because I've literally just finished the first Thursday Murder Club book after we watched the show.
Yeah.
And it's so weird how some of it is exactly like the show, like they changed nothing, and then other bits are very different. And I think some of those characters, when Osmond was writing them, I swear he had those actors in his head because
they're bob on.
Anybody who people like me who like books, who read them, I'm in your head. You have the voice of the character. I do that anyway. And as soon as they started some of their dialogue, I was like, "Yep, I've got Helen Mirren in my head." Like I think he had those people in his head from the beginning. Is my feeling. Do you think?
The casting is absolutely bob on. Like when you read it, it is who is on screen. It's frighteningly
it's
accurate.
Scary.
Oh, you had me up to a point, but the idea, look, I hear voices as it is. So the last thing I need is even more, really, voices and yet more questions. We're going to be answering some questions later on, Charlotte. This is our Ask Us Anything strand. We've been doing this for a really long time. Always entertaining, isn't it? But it can be a little nerve-wracking, can't it? So are you ready? Are you ready for another round?
Yeah, I've had children with World Book Day being very excited today, so I think I'm ready.
So we're ready. They're ready, I think. But is he? I think he's wearing a cap, which is a good sign. But then again, he's always wearing a cap, isn't he? It's Gary Akers.
To answer Luke's question, I'm actually just not wearing anything from the waist down. Let me show you, Luke.
Hey. Always a tease.
The old ones.
I still can't get over. I think is this like the second week or the third week for Luke's new nuclear-powered microphone? I can't get over that. I imagine that after the show's over, he contacts the International Space Station with that thing.
Yes,
Disco time in Manchester. Oh yeah.
It's powered by the same shit that the Ghostbusters used to use to power the backpacks.
Oh, there you go.
You can tell.
That's right.
Tell by the glow, can't you? Anyway, yes, good to have you back, Harry. So we're 2 for 2 at the moment, Charlotte. It's a score draw. So we're going to see. We're going to bring on our guest to see who are the winners this time. Is it the caps or the natural look? I'm happy to bring him back on again. Now he's daft enough to say yes pretty much every time that I ask him, and it's always a pleasure to reconnect with the game closet. Yes, I said the game closet, so repeat that carefully. And he's all lit up like a Christmas tree every time we connect with him, whatever time of year it is. But is he wearing a cap, Dr. Scott?
Of course I'm wearing a cap.
The mother of my God, is that just one you're wearing there, Scott, or is it more than one?
This is my old band cap from when I was in high school. This is the literal hat I used to wear my last 2 years in marching band. Yes.
It looks like you've taken the massive feather off the top, just so you can sort of.
I still have the feather, but I don't know where it's at right now.
I was joking.
No, I still have it. It's
good to have you back, Scott. How have you been? I mean, happy 2026.
Yes.
Hopefully it's been happy.
Yes, it's been pretty decent. Been staying busy, of course, and stuff and things. So
yeah, staying busy. What's busy?
Making videos, getting my daughter off to school, doing a little graphic design. That's about it. Yeah. Staying out of trouble, but still busy.
Well, I'm glad you've been busy because I don't know if you've heard, the universe of Doctor Who is anything but busy, despite the flashing lights and the big logo that say Doctor Who in massive lit up letters. It's all gone very, very quiet, certainly from official Doctor Who. So, as always, here at Type 40, we're stepping up to the plate. We're stepping up to the plate and giving the people what they want, answers where we can to whatever we can. Here on the latest Ask Us Anything live stream. He's a happy soul, isn't he? And whatever answers are out there, we're gonna furnish our live chat with them as best we can. We'll pluck them out of wherever we need to, and then we'll leave the scene of the crime as if nothing ever happened. That's the plan. We'll see how it works out. We've got a couple of stops to take before we get there, because there have been little things going on here and there. I think I'd more trust Ruby than the doctor to be able to locate, well, than this doctor to locate where anything may have actually gone tits up. So let's see what they've managed to find for us and where. Blimey, he needs some soothers. That guy. Okay, so first of all talk has been around Cardiff this last few days. Cardiff Bay, to be precise, Mermaid Quay, if you want to be really, really specific, and the baddies, the management of Mermaid Quay, which is a kind of a touristy sort of attraction. You know, they can pack them in and fun fairs and all that kind of stuff, and it's a stone's throw away from the BBC's Rothlock studio. Now, the owners of Mermaid Quay have made a decision this week which has shocked the Doctor Who community, and in particular, devotees of the big spin-off from all those years ago, 20 years ago now, Torchwood, and those still mourning the loss of Yanto Jones. So, if you remember, Yanto bought the farm in a pretty big way, all the way back in 2000. When was this? 2009? When this character was killed off at the end of Series 3 of Torchwood, Children of Earth. You know, we still talk about that with a lot of fondness, but people were so shocked by this because people love the character and the actor, Gareth David Lloyd, very, very popular. And so a tribute to the character was erected in next to no time. And it's been there the whole time. Gradually, with people sort of adding to it, Gary, over the years. It's not all the same, all the same stuff. That bird shit's new, though. You think that? Yeah, they do. They maintain this however they can. But the management of Mermaid Quay have decided that for health and safety reasons, Yanto Shrine must be uninstalled. So I'm going to come to you first, Charlotte. You know, were you shocked to hear this news?
Yeah, because it's been there for so long. And it's sort of like you said, it was such a spontaneous thing that the fans did. So surely if it's been health and safety, it's been like that for a while, you would think.
Could be right.
I'm sure this isn't a recent photo.
So, I'm a bit sad. No, I'm a bit sad because I just found it such a lovely thing that the fans just naturally did, and that it got allowed just to be a part of, like, the key. And if you're a Doctor Who fan, you know why it's there. People walking past probably are clueless if they're not.
Yeah.
But no, that is sad.
I mean, you could say, Luke, that they've indulged our nonsense for long enough after 17 years. Can you? What are your thoughts on this? Because obviously I've been to this site. It is, you know, I did sort of go, ooh, it's Yanto Shrine. Had a look at it, and then I sort of walked in the other direction. But a lot of people really do love this, don't they? And I wouldn't say it's a tourist hotspot, but it is an area of interest. So what are your thoughts?
It's got a really good Weatherspoons right around the corner, which is pretty good. It's pretty nicely priced for Cardiff Bay. Can't go wrong. Dock above it as well. So there's a couple of nice pubs around there. Yeah, it's a shame, to be honest, because it is kind of a tourist attraction, isn't it? Especially for Doctor Who fans. People want to go and you know, you want to go see Rose Lock to a degree. You want to go see Torchwood Tower. You want to go see where the TARDIS was. And they've got like props from the episode as well. It's like the newspaper from Doomsday when Chris Eccleston holds it. He's like, oh, it was such a nice day. And Margaret, the Slitheen, that's on there somewhere. I remember seeing this on the far right. Yeah, it is a shame because obviously they still do loads of Doctor Who tours around there as well. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit of something out of the magic of Cardiff Bay, especially for Doctor Who fans. Especially the experience is gone. Next, they'll be ripping down the water fountain. Next, they'll be kicking Doctor Who out of Cardiff. They're taking everything from us. But I have heard rumblings they're going to try and make a memorial bench there for him. So I was like, which is
what?
Bench.
Yeah, I think someone I read on Twitter earlier. Someone spoke to the management of Mermaid Quay and they're on about putting a memorial bench there instead. But I get what I mean, because a lot of I've been down there with a couple of people, like Doctor Who fans and non-Doctor Who fans, and you always get people who are not fans being like, "Oh, was he famous? Was he a politician? Like, oh, how did he die?" And then you explain, like, "No, it's a Doctor Who thing, really.
It's a fictional character.
Yeah."
No, the answer is yes. That's it. Just yes, and then just walk away.
But it is a shame, because even though it is a bit of an eyesore, it does mean a lot to the fans. And I know it's something it's not far off, like 20 years ago now that this happened. So you can see why they'd be like, right, okay, grow up, take it down. But who knows? We might get a new bench out of this. Brilliant. So yeah, it's a bit mixed emotions. It's sad to see it go, but I can see why. The place is in a massive state of disarray, and it probably costs more money than, well, obviously it's bringing money to Cardiff Bay, but it costs more money to fix it than probably bringing in. So many Doctor Who fans are left now, about 1.3 million. So come on.
There you go. I mean, they have said here, Gary, that it's suffering from rot and decay.
Yeah.
The actual ironwork behind it is rusting away, and that could pose a risk to the public. I don't know. I mean, I haven't inspected it. So I don't think I want to too closely. But I suppose that, yeah, you can imagine that sort of bits of metal that were temporary and things like this, they would get replaced. The general sort of maintenance of an area which is used as an actual key. You know, boats do come in and out of this area of this whole vicinity all the time. So it is, you wouldn't say it's a working environment. People aren't lugging boxes of tea around. There's not ropes swinging everywhere, but it is quite a busy place. And so in all truth, you know, Luke is quite right. And I can see the logic. Does everything have its time, even this?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that struck me, if you could put up that photo where we see the whole vista, and that's kind of, because now that actually showed me this. All right. So I hadn't seen this before. So now I can kind of see where it is. And I was just struck. Now, I'm not, yes, it's great that the fans have sustained this, but I was struck by the contrast that you have this very upscale looking shopping, dining, shop center, you know, up floor there. And then, you know, the beautiful building at the top, and then this little thing at the bottom. And it's like, you know, what doesn't belong? If you were going to say what doesn't belong, I think it would be that. And I think it's probably because it's just so out of sync now with the whole upscaled area that they probably just thought we just really need to kind of not have that here anymore. That might have been the thinking too.
Well,
but a memorial bench is even better.
A memorial bench is even better, but I think that some people who aren't in the know, who are like, say, maybe 19, 20, 21 now, they were about 3 years old at the time. Now you might have some women coming by with a QR code going, I'm going to put up my QR code here so they can see my knickers. You know, we just don't want that, you know. It's just, you know, you can do that.
Lost dogs, things like that.
You can do that in Vegas. You don't want to do that there. So.
Yeah, I think John Barrowman actually has got his down there. I mean, there are benches.
Now there will be a portion of fandom who actually will see them taking this down as irrefutable proof that not only does this mean that Torchwood is coming back, but that they're going to resurrect Yonto, so we can't have Yonto's shrine anymore.
You might be onto some in there.
There you go.
So that's the Christmas special.
I like that.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I suppose anything's possible. Obviously, Yanto Jones, he bought the farm a long time ago. Gareth David Lloyd is still around, still present, still acting. Obviously very proud of the shrine, to a job that he did the best part of 20 years ago in a role that, let's be honest, was a bit crap. But he was good in it, and he kind of rolled with the punches. Really, I always felt Gareth David Lloyd in that role. Scott, I mean, are you a big are you a Torchwood fan? Did you see much of it? And what do you make of all this tribute lark? Is this something that only the Brits would do?
I absolutely love the show. The last one, you know, that Children of Earth, it was a little but yes. By comparison to what we have now, I'd rather have years and years of that. You know, as opposed. But is this something the Brits would only do? I don't think so. Because now, I mean, just I mean, he is a fictional character, but look when Steve Jobs passed away in, was it 2011, I believe? I mean, there were shrines all over the world for him. So, but for a fictional character, I don't know. I mean, I think that there might be maybe a character here or there. If they got killed on screen, maybe you might see a shrine for it, but maybe it is something that's only a British thing. Maybe if they killed Michael Knight off at the end of the show on Knight Rider, maybe we'd have gotten that somewhere. I don't know, but you know what? But you know what would be a great idea? Yeah, if they took a lot of these down and if they actually scanned them and made a nice book out of them, so that or even a website, so that way you could see them. Yeah.
Apparently, this lady, Carol Ann Hillman, is already on the case. Now she's been the long-time caretaker of the shrine, and she started a kind of a preservation effort now to take away what she can and to create sort of scrapbooks and a mini version of the shrine, I would imagine, somewhere near to her. I don't know, but it'll be up to her, I would imagine. But the idea is, that as much of it that can be saved will be, and sealed away somewhere. Maybe they'll make a time capsule out of it, sort of Blue Peter style, Charlotte. I don't know. And obviously there's a plaque there now. It's been there for quite a while that Yanto Jones gave his life in defense of the children of this planet, and the management of Mermaid Key salute you until 2026. So that's up there. But this could be just as easily, I suppose, fastened to a bench, Charlotte, as anything else. So is a bench an insult to his memory, or would you go and perch there and eat your cheese and pickle sandwich and think of Yanto?
Well, he was the tea boy, wasn't he, at the beginning of the show? So I suppose a bench would sort of suit. I think as long as there's something, like I said, I just think it's the uniqueness of Cardiff and how much it did embrace Doctor Who with the landmarks and how much they used of it. I think it's always been such a unique, like a lovely thing. So I think as long as we have something, if this has to get taken down, like a bench with like his name and just a little, because that's not going to get in anybody's way, really, is it? They can't moan about health and safety for that.
Depends where you put the bench, I guess.
I think they need to replace it with like an Adric shrine that says, all it says is, "We'll never know if he was right."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, our thoughts are with Gareth David Lloyd. He's had several roles since. He turns up in sort of straight to DVD and cable sci-fi movies and things like that quite a lot. And now and again, I see him in other shows, but usually he's sporting a full beard, so I don't really recognise him. Which I suppose is what a good actor would want. They'd want to be able to leave a role behind and sort of sink into a new one. We'll be guaranteeing there'll be a smile on Gareth David Lloyd's face, and the rest of the Torchwood team, of course, later in 2026, when we'll be paying tribute to Torchwood, 20 years of Torchwood. So stick around for that and re-jog your memories if you dare on that show, because it is one that it's a bit of a Marmite thing, but we'll be talking about it whether you like it or not. But in the meantime, we can only suggest that get down there to Mermaid Key in Cardiff. If it's always been an ambition of yours to see this for yourself and to adorn it with your tribute to Yanto Jones, you better make it sharpish, because the whole thing's coming down. And all of this, Luke, in the week of St. David's Day. How dare they?
Diolch yn fawr. Yeah, what a shame. I think is it the end of April you said it's going? Or am I making that up?
It is the end of April. You're quite right. I think I'd left that bit out. Yeah, it's coming down sooner rather than later. It is coming down. But I mean, yeah, I think that the Welsh will be fine. I think Cardiff will survive. But whether Doctor Who fans needed another kick to the tender areas or not, I'm not entirely sure.
It is a shame. And Gareth takes it all in his jest. And he's just done a lovely podcast talking about it and how much it means to him that a character that he played almost 20 years ago has passed away. And yeah, and I know he's been in The Witcher and he's directing his own stuff now. So yeah, all power to him. But it's nice to see that he's still involved with it, and obviously it's affected him, and it's quite nice. And yeah, that's nice to see a Welsh guy get memorialized in Cardiff, I guess.
Fictionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Cardiff for you there. Happy David's Day to everybody who celebrated it earlier in the week. Back to civilization, though, now, Luke.
Oh, no.
Over to London Comic Con, which happened earlier this week. So this is Showmasters London Film and Comic Con event for the spring. Took place last weekend between the 28th of February and the 1st of March at the historic Olympia location in the capital city. And as usual, when it comes to these events, there was pictures all over social media, but not of people I think we're used to seeing, particularly the combinations of people together. So I wanted to take a quick look at who was there, because plenty of our friends were there, like Nerd Den Jack, he turned up, and various other people, Charlotte. So had you been aware that this had happened?
I knew it was coming up. I hadn't realised it been and gone. But I knew there was quite a lot of Who actors that were appearing, so that's how I knew it was coming.
There's several key Who people were all across the whole venue, really. I think that they've got several sort of areas partitioned off where people can go and meet them and get stuff signed or body parts signed. Scott, you know the drill. I'd imagine it's exactly the same where you are with these things, isn't it?
Not too far from the truth, because when I met Peter Weller about 3 years ago, I was like in awe, and I could have had him sign my arm and go, okay, let's just turn that into a tattoo. But yeah, I
thank God you said arm.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the location. A lot of people there, and it does look very distinctive, I suppose. But they packed it with Doctor Who people. So there's Sophia Miles. We've got David Bradley, Varada Setu. We've got Millie Gibson and Ncuti Gatwa. Oh, and who would have thought it? Brian Blessed's down there as well. That must be the only time in history somebody is. The last person to be spotted was Brian Blessed, but there he is, and there he was, along with Craig Charles and Chris Barry, and another couple of people. I'm not quite sure who they are. I think the one bloke was the villain in The Keep, the Michael Mann movie from years ago. I'm not entirely sure, but they were all there. Ncuti Gatwa, he was all smiles. For the most part, there he is, beavering away, signing for people. He's fully dressed as well, Gary. So I almost didn't recognise the guy.
That was going to be my question to you, Dan, is did you get your 80-pound Ncuti autograph? Which I guess, it's my understanding seriously that he only signs NG. So I figured that averages out to about 40 pounds an initial, which to me seems a little bit high for an autograph.
If anybody's met Ncuti, surely because some of them do that, don't they? They only sign initials. Oh dear. Can we have confirmation of that from the live chat?
Give me 2 minutes. I think I've got a photo of the signature.
we can reach out to our contacts, can't we?
I've got it.
He's got it because he paid 80 pounds for it.
That is what he has signed.
Hang on. What?
And that's 80. Yep. Wow. Well,
he signs 15.
That's a bargain at 80 pounds. Then
200 pounds for that, ladies and gents. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. Bloody hell. No wonder he's smiling.
Why did he scratch that? Why did he scratch that out, Luke? Did he forget? Did he put the wrong initials? Then he scratched it out and put his own? Is that what that was?
I don't know. I didn't ask him, Gary.
Well, he probably put the V before the X, and then that's only 5. So
it's hard to believe that he's been done with the part now for over a year since he recorded his final scenes, those reshoots. But he is turning up at these events quite regularly, where he doesn't actually have to learn any lines, just be reasonably polite. He can sort of sign stuff, sort of. He can smear people's personal effects with whatever he needs to, and then he just needs to smile at whoever wants a few minutes with him, such as David Bradley here, fellow Doctor Who actor David Bradley, who caught a few minutes with Ncuti. I get the impression Ncuti has no idea who he is, and David probably doesn't really know who he is either, but it is kind of nice to see them together, sort of.
Yeah, David Bradley, wouldn't he be like 1.3? Isn't that?
Yeah, how are we deciphering it all now? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, at least Ncuti, I think he's trying to work out who he is and what's going on. Charlotte, bless him.
I wouldn't be surprised if either two things happened here. They just naturally met and had a chat, which probably happens a lot, because they're so close. That's the thing that always surprises me. when you see how close they're sat sometimes to each other, the people that are signing, or somebody who is a Doctor Who fan just went, "Oi, you two, let's get you in a picture together," and they're both just like, "Okay."
Is that Verada at the next table?
It isn't. I've looked very very closely, as you can imagine.
And
It's not
Dan's
her.
very good at spotting her, so
It's not. It's not. I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I was wondering because if I see Verada in one of these pictures, I'm going to look around to see if like Dan is lurking somewhere close by in the background.
I'm the bloke in handcuffs. Yes, so David Bradley and Ncuti Gatwa, they have met on screen before, Luke. I'd forgotten this, but I suspect they weren't in the same location when this was shot. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, have I missed them? Another multi-doctor, not realised.
This was the controversial re-edit, of course, of An Adventure in Space and Time from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, at least they fixed it this time, because if you remember, Matt Smith is over the top of the console. He's not behind it. So at least for Ncuti, they got it right. So well done to the editors for finally picking that up.
Oh, God, professionals? No. Yeah, so I think this is quite nice to see them together. Yeah, and they did a photo shoot, so you could pay to have your pictures taken with Ncuti and David Bradley and Colin Baker as well. And I think that Jack, he went and did that, and he's very happy with it. And there was ones with Millie Gibson and Varada Setu and Ncuti Gatwa as well. So it looks quite well attended. But the image that I liked the most, I think, was this one of Ncuti Gatwa and Alex Kingston. When I say like, I mean, I actually smiled at this the first time I saw it, at least. It's one of those pictures you can almost hear, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not in my diary, thank God.
That'll be the next, that picture gave all the Big Finish writers a lot of ideas.
How many Red Bulls do you think Ncuti had necked before this, Gary? Do you think he'd... He looks loaded, doesn't he? Anyway, yeah, that's Alex Kingston and Ncuti Gatwa. Apparently, they'd never met before this occasion at Olympia.
I love her face. That's all I'll say. She looks very surprised, whatever he's saying.
She's saying security. We've got one of Millie Gibson too here. She met Katie Manning and had one of her signature hugs, at least one hug. I would imagine there'd have been a couple on offer. So it's always nice to see one of our Doctor Who royalty there together with one of the newbies, and Millie Gibson positively aglow and back from your side of the Atlantic at last, Gary.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, Millie Gibson always looks beautiful in every picture I ever see her in. And that's great. I mean, if that was the first time her meeting Katie Manning, she was probably, because everybody's first experience of meeting Katie Manning, you're just kind of like, that's an experience to remember.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Bless him. I remember Rob, when we were at Hooverville, I think Rob tried offering to take her out to a Weatherspoons or something. It was the most bizarre. I mentioned Weatherspoons twice on this podcast already. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not just trying to get people to go spoons. Yeah, doing the autograph session. He's like, "Oh, spoons around the corner," and I was like, "What is going on here?" Bless him. I love Rob. Never change.
Yes, nice imagery here. Now, this was the most surprising combination I saw. There's Philip Hinchcliffe, of course, the producer of the golden age of Doctor Who for many. Andrew Cartmel just sat behind, I've noticed. But there's Philip Hinchcliffe meeting a fan. And when I first saw this, I thought, God, that fan looks familiar. And it turns out it's
Isn't it Bruce Dickinson?
You're right, Scott.
Yeah.
So who's Bruce Dickinson, Scott, for the uninitiated?
I kid you not. I almost wore my Iron Maiden shirt instead of this shirt that I have on. Yeah, that's the lead singer and pilot for Iron Maiden.
Wow.
Turns out he's a Doctor Who fan, Gary. Who knew?
Well, everybody likes the Philip Hinchcliffe era, so that doesn't surprise me.
He got a signed picture from Philip Hinchcliffe there. He looks genuinely pleased as punch, doesn't he? So
That's so
What's
wicked.
an unassuming figure?
Is he holding up? I'm trying to figure what picture he's holding up. That's got to be, because I know that's Tom Baker and that's Elizabeth.
Yep.
That's Liz Slade next to him, and I'm guessing Ian Waters. So that must be some pick from Genesis. Wow, it's so weird that he would have that.
Well, Bruce is
Preparing.
like almost 70, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Preparing for the genesis of the Daleks, it says there. So it's not a picture that I've seen before, but Hinchcliffe does seem to have quite a few of them. They're ready for any
there's
random.
I'm not a Iron Maiden fan, but there's a comment in the chat that says Iron Maiden had the TARDIS on the artwork of their Somewhere in Time album cover.
That's
so
right.
wow, that's like okay.
Right up here on my wall is the Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time album.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, nice one, Philip. A nice one, Bruce. He does look like a happy customer, doesn't he? And so there wasn't much, but what there was real gold, and everybody was sort of buzzing. I'm sure you've seen, if you've got other fans in your life were there, they might have shared a picture or two. Even the stars were dropping them on their socials the following day. So I couldn't not mention Verona Satu. She had this on her socials. Yesterday was crazy, she said. Thank you to all the amazing fans that dropped by. It means so much, with the exception of that guy from the Black Country who... So there she is. I had heard bad things about these Showmasters events, Luke, that people were coming away dissatisfied. They were turned away from autograph lines and all manner of problems, organizational problems. But it does seem that they have all of this under control now, and people are happy again. We've got happy Whovians. What have you heard?
Just that is ridiculously expensive. Unfortunately, everyone seems spending money on what you want. If you go meet them, fantastic. There's loads of people there. Just go have a good time. Go be safe. Just go enjoy yourself. But as long as everyone's getting treated fairly and nice, and there's no one. We've seen the videos of what Showmasters were doing to a certain actor before. That seems to be gone in the past now. Thank the Lord. As long as people are just having fun, spend your money on what you want. Just go enjoy yourselves. Just be kind and courteous to everyone, and don't be creepy, as has been reported at other cons with other Doctor Who actors before.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking to me.
No, not you, Dan. Not you.
Yeah, no, I was the first thing when I saw this picture after looking at the lovely Verona Sethu, my eyes actually went to the top of the TARDIS to see like if Dan was kind of on top of the TARDIS, kind of like looking down.
Like suit. That would have been so good.
Explains why her jacket's buttoned up to the top, doesn't it? So that was London Film and Comic Con for the spring. They've got another event lined up for the summer. It's the same location too. So if that's near you, or if you can get there, you want to look at the 13th to the 14th of June 2026 for Showmasters' next London Film and Comic Con event. It's all up on the website, all the details. I think you can sort of get a ticket in as soon as you like. Really, they don't mind when. It's all open, all's fair, and all that jazz. What next?
Perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. The Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
He's right, catch the Type 40 podcast across all major podcatchers. News, reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs, and deep dives with all our regular panelists and lots of awesome guests as always. And don't forget to check the playlists for earlier editions of this show at Type 40 Live, our live stream. So there's our regular news updates, our breaking news specials and reports, deeper dives into whatever is whipping fandom up into a sensation in any given week, or one of our event shows as well there. It's all ready for you to dive back into headfirst, as well as previous Ask Us anything shows. So much, lots of them. I wouldn't know. How many times have you been on the show, do you think, Scott, in the last 5 years? It's got to be a few, isn't it? At least a dozen, maybe 20.
Oh, I'd say, yeah, at least a dozen, but maybe 20. That's probably about right. Because the very first time that I met you was, oh gosh, it had to have been about 6 or 7 years ago, because I was on the Rabbi Show. And and I didn't even have a channel then. Somehow you guys just brought me on for whatever reason. I don't know why. So
you got roped into it, didn't you? And you haven't left since. That tends to be how it works with Type 40 Live, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. We're nearly there, everybody. I hope you've got your questions lined up. We've had one question already, which is not very gentlemanly, but we'll take it. We'll take it anyway. So get scribbling, bang them in the nicest possible way, and we'll see what we get to and when we get to it. So where to next? Who we're going to speak to? I think we should take a look over there.
Now, I suggest you start watching Type 40, because I can't. I've got to watch this little blighter. The job for... I'll have less of that from you, thank you very much. Know your place.
Know your place.
Look, if I have to run up a flight of stairs, you come and find me.
I'll be in the lift.
That's going to the bottom of the floor, then. Keep watching Type 40. There's good chaps.
So even the Matrix itself on the world of Gallifrey. Does Gallifrey still exist? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out as part of this conversation. Okay, so the Matrix, let's just go with it anyway. The Matrix is the repository of all knowledge, of course, but there's a few gaps even in there. And between us, we're going to try and fill some of them in here on the panel and with you in the live chat. This is us doing our bit from out here in safety of our console room, of course. Get thinking, get scribbling. This is part of a long-running strand that we've been doing. Just time really to reconnect with you, our community, our friends out there, and sort of take stock really of where you're at, of the things that are on your mind, on our minds as well. Generally speaking, there are. But some of you have really got some quite unusual minds. So by all means, let the eccentric side to your imagination fly as well. I'm sure it will all be fine after all. What do you think, Kaza? Yeah. Don't ask us to explain this. No chance.
Oh.
Some things defy all comprehension and any line of questioning, Gary. But when it comes to the iconography of Doctor Who, the legacy, the lore, the broader lore that we've all seen, or that which we keep to ourselves, that's all fair game. Keep it clean if you can. But we're not proud here. You know we're not proud. So we'll answer whatever need be. Okay, so first of all, though, I wanted to kick things off by looking in this direction. Because whilst it is very, very quiet out there in Doctor Who land, there has been a flurry of interest, of talk surrounding the future of the show. But I don't think it's come about in the most organic of ways. Doctor Who has always, I think the British media have always used it to sell newspapers. You know, when people bought newspapers, it was seen as something that was kind of good fodder for tabloids, and that's sort of shifted really, I think, over into the realm of the tabloid-based websites, the purveyors of clickbait, and I think that's where we are now, because it's as if the broader media has just figured out that Doctor Who's not on anymore, and that nothing's really happening, and they're wondering why, is the impression that I get, because there has been an explosion, if not in actual interest in Doctor Who, genuine interest, then in talk around it. That continued absence since Christmas. It's not gone unnoticed. TV Zone, the website, they got the ball rolling on X a few days ago. With this one, scripts for Ncuti Gatwa's third series of Doctor Who were being prepared and written and developed. in 2024, just before Disney made their decision not to renew, and that resulted in shooting leave, blah, 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 blah. And this was all that really needed to kick off somewhat of a bandwagon. I mean, if you've been paying any attention to us here at Type 40 for not just the last 6 months, the last 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, this is no news to any of us. But the explosion was real. Doctor Who TV picked up on this. Billy Piper reportedly not the next Doctor. Search ongoing. BBC struggle to find new Doctor Who star. And so I can't say I was surprised by any of this, but I have sort of wondered why. Because even though it is Doctor Who's silly season, this is where we are at. Where Doctor Who is at, where it is at culturally. So, had you seen all this break, Charlotte? Had you been following it?
Yeah, I'd seen the so-called exclusive source talk about Billy, and I just found the timing odd, like you said, because it's been very clear that Doctor Who's in limbo for months now. But the press weren't running with it. And even at the time when Billy got revealed, and you picked up on it, Dan, I think, on stream, that certain sites were running with her as the new Doctor. That they were even calling her the 16th Doctor or new Doctor Billy Piper. And that the BBC wasn't stopping that. And we know in the past the BBC can kill stories if they want. They can make, especially the sort of the more legacy media, have a certain tone or not say certain things. So the fact that they were allowing that to run was interesting at the time, and now this has come out to basically almost say, no, she's not. So my sort of conspiracy brain or my sort of theory brain has gone with this. Has the BBC or somebody at the BBC actually said, it's better now if we can put out she's not the Doctor, because it's finally taken this long for them to realise this has not gone down well.
I hadn't thought of that, Charlotte, and I think it's likely. I mean, the truth of the matter is, and I suspect we've all had this, is that not every Doctor Who fan consumes the independent media, podcasts, YouTube, live streams, whatever you want to call it. It connects with Doctor Who in that way. Some people do just read websites, get their sort of notifications, don't they, Luke? That's how they get it. So I'm not vain enough to think that everybody is listening and watching Type 40 and Type 40 Live. But what I found is that people are reaching out to me and to us and asking, have you read this? Have you seen this? What do you think about this? Well, yeah, absolutely. We've been speaking about this for Christ knows how long. Had you seen all this, and was your reaction similar to mine, or have we missed something here? Is there something new to see? We can't hear you.
As if I was being nice. I was typing away. I thought I'd be nice for a change. I'll mute myself.
Put that bit in post. We're all right.
What a rookie mistake.
Got my hopes up there for a second.
Stephen, shut up, Gary. Stephen Braddock is going to absolutely crucify me in the comments now. Stephen O'Neill, we've been saying this for the longest time, and I believe we actually even said on a stream what the story arc was going to be for the series 3, I believe. And this is not new. This is stuff that we were saying like last year, like before the reality war. Like, so it's not. It's old news, isn't it? Really, but I guess it's. Well, you can't exactly say it's a slow news day, can you? It's a slow news day in Doctor Who, maybe, but not in anything else. But it's tabloids are going to do what they're going to do, and a Doctor Who sells, I guess. People are going to. It's clickbait, isn't it? It's just pure clickbait. Just look at.
For the most part, I think it is, because there are dead ends. I think here there are things that are being put about as being exclusives and insights, which are really sort of closed sentences, really truisms, statements of sort of clear fact, or things that you can sort of put together. If the BBC is struggling to find a new actor to play Doctor Who, said that the principal one, the BBC is struggling to find a new actor to play Doctor Who after recent woke storylines alienated even hardcore fans. I mean, that can't be doubted. The woke storylines did alienate everybody, whether you're a hardcore fan or a casual viewer. That is true. Is the BBC struggling to find a new actor? I find it difficult to believe that it would be impossible to cast this role even now. I suspect there'd be a lot of people who would want to audition, but I don't think they're in any particular rush to. This piece went on to say the backlash saw them delay plans for a new series, and sex education star Ncuti Gatwa leaving the role after just 2 series. So they are pinning the blame here on the series not continuing squarely on the failure of that last era to grow an audience, and that's what caused Ncuti to leave. And we know that that's not true. We know that it was, the show was crap. Yes, hardly anybody watched it. Yes, he was awful, and there was a backlash. The truth of the matter is that things were decided long before that point. So it seems to me, Gary, that people, particularly the sort of the tabloids, they make up the bits that they don't know. They fill in the gaps with what, I suppose, that which they believe is the most likely to be true. Do you think that's how it works?
Well, as the saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum. And in the absence of, any real likely news for the better part of a year, coming up, I think that they know that they have to come up with these kind of running in place stories that don't really advance anything, but they actually kind of sound like news. I mean, just like Charlotte, when I saw these things started coming up in my feed earlier this week, it's like, shock news. Billy Piper is not actually the next Doctor. And I thought to myself, okay, and in other news, water is wet. I mean, did anyone really think that Billy Piper was actually going to be the actual next Doctor? I mean, she has her own acting career. She's going to be she's on Wednesday now. Doesn't she have her own production company? She has a family. She's not going to, she knows what the commitment is like. She's not about to sign up for, X seasons as the Doctor.
She did say that in an interview last autumn as well, Gary. She said she can't commit and won't commit to a long-running show anymore.
Well, she doesn't want to commit career suicide either. So,
well, but here's the thing. I mean, as far as, look, obviously there's not going to be any news. They're struggling to find an actor because, okay, so if you look at it from the actor's side, why would you commit your future time for a show where there's no production team in place right now? There's no showrunner picked, and surely the next showrunner is going to be the one to choose their Doctor. They don't have any idea about what the stories would be, what the arc would be.
When anybody applies for a job, when anybody applies for any job of any kind, when do you want me and for how long and how much you're going to pay me? It's no different to any kind of job that anybody takes. And there are no answers to any of those questions right now.
Exactly. If you sat down to apply for a job, he says, well, I'm really interested in finding out, I'd really be interested in this job. And they said, okay, well, we can't tell you who's your boss is. We can't tell you what you're going to be working on. We can't tell you where or when, but here's your contract. It's like, no.
Scott, what are your thoughts?
Even Patrick Stewart classically said about Star Trek: The Next Generation that first year he didn't even unpack his bags. He thought, this is going to flop and I'm going home and that's it. But at least they had someone running the show. They knew what was going on. Right now, like you said, this is a boat without a rudder. There's no captain. I mean, it's a bunch of scared people going, where are we going? And so I think you've hit the nail on the head, because you can't necessarily find you can't find the star of the show when there's no one running the show yet. So I think they need to start there as well. But I think we need to go before that point, because the BBC has been committed since the middle of Peter Capaldi's era to destroy this show. I think that they need to look at the writing on the wall and say, okay, we've lost millions and millions, and we've alienated a lot of people. Hell, even Disney, woke Disney said we're not going to touch this shit anymore. So maybe we need to change direction here and go back to what works, as opposed to, okay, let's get a showrunner. Well, how about committing to, you know, I don't know, to good stories and making money? Because that's where I would start.
Yeah, and there's another angle to this, and it's that the last couple of Doctor picks, you can see how much of the fact that it had to be a woman at one point, it had to be this, it had to be that. Like when Russell was first casting with Eccleston and then with David, he didn't feel like there was such much of a pressure that a Doctor had to represent or had to sort of break ground in certain ways or had to be this and that. It could just be, we're casting for whoever's best in the role. That's it. And it feels like now the politics and the way the industry is sort of at times seeming to be so concentrated on, we have to suit this one audience and we'll forget everybody else in the process. And that's what Doctors have felt the last couple of times around. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be hard for any casting director now to sort of have that freedom to pick an actor, because there would be pressures. And I think some of that is self-inflicted, because they didn't need to sort of fall on the sword of doing the female Doctor. They didn't need to do some of these things, but they did. So now the expectation's there, sadly.
I mean, if the casting right now is done by, as Charlotte said, like some kind of like nameless, faceless BBC executive committee, we all know what we're going to get.
This all proves to me, just as when Doctor Who is really successful and beloved, and it's really sort of click-worthy, and newspapers and websites fill up with it, and there's a real buzz around it, Doctor Who catches people's interest and keeps it. But even when it's on its arse, people do want to know. They're invested up to a point in the outcome, even if it is just to point and laugh. And I wouldn't say that there's been a celebratory tone to a lot of this, but I think people are enjoying the program makers, a couple of individuals in particular, getting what you could view as a comeuppance of sorts, because it's been a long time coming. It didn't start with him, with Russell T Davies. This has gone back quite a long time now, for the viewership being either ignored or propagandized, and people don't respond well to this. They don't at all. The Sun have gone in on this as well. Now, I'm not going to be the guy who has a pop at the tabloids and says, don't believe anything that turns up in the tabloids. That narrative, I think, has proven, certainly in the case of Doctor Who, not to necessarily be true. The Mirror, in particular, has a great track record for Doctor Who. But the Sun went with this week. Yeah, they printed that the BBC is struggling to find the new actor after the woke storylines. I do think this is somewhat of a reach. But they also went on to say, from their insider, from the moment it was confirmed Ncuti was leaving, bosses have subtly been putting feelers out among the industry for an actor who could play the Doctor. Despite once being one of TV's most coveted roles, it's now seen as a bit of a poison chalice. Whether their insider is a genuine insider, whether this actually happened, whether this conversation, this quote is real or not, I've said so many times on this show that certainly the showrunner's job of Doctor Who is a bit like being the England football team manager or any international side, Luke. I'd imagine it's the same for Wales. People go at that person. And I believe, and Charlotte is right about this, because at one point, the actor who was playing the role was separate from that. That was never seen as being anything political at all, literally sort of party political, or political simply, I don't like this style of programming, or I do like it. The actor never really came into it like that. You either liked what they were doing or you didn't. But now they have kind of politicized the character too, and the choice for the roles. And so that's been pulled across into the arena as well. And they go on to finally say, anyone taking on the job will want to know if it's going to be a one-off or to go beyond that point to plan their workload. So that's not rocket science either. But I think this lines up perfectly with what you were saying, Charlotte. And whilst I do doubt legitimacy in what tabloids say, because they do, even the things that are correct, that are legitimate, they condense them. I think the essence of where we are is sort of accurate. I think the role is somewhat of a poisoned chalice at this moment in time. I don't think there'll be any shortage of actors or actresses who want to do it, but I think they will be carefully advised on the wisdom of it by their representation, by their agents.
Yeah, and you've got the fact that you've just had 2 failures in different ways for different reasons. But that's the thing. A job is always more appealing when it's hot, when it's just had a good run, when either the character has just been really well kept, and you go, oh God, like that's going to get my teeth into it. When you've just had a run of 2 different people just doing a bad job, to put it sort of simply, but with lots of different factors and for different reasons, I will always maintain that with Ncuti and Jodie, they're not the same. There's very different factors at play here. It makes it seem like it's such more of a harder role to crack. Actors, I think it makes it more of an intimidating part to take on, because it's got that sense of, oh, people have struggled with this role, people have not been able to find their groove, what if I'm the same?
Ncuti Gatwa is long gone and not before time. This guy was a drag on the show, on all of us. I don't miss him, and I'm not missing the conversation around him either. The last 9 or 10 months, being able to sort of power away from the wreckage of that has been therapeutic. It's time for sort of catch our breath. But the truth of the matter is, just as the tabloids have noticed this week, what's been done to the show and done to the brand, when something is such a big part of your life, and it's not there anymore, it doesn't function. We notice, you notice, the tabloids have noticed, and so we turn to one another and we compare notes and we say, well, okay, so this newspaper, this website, that channel, that person, that commentator, that showbiz personality, or that former actor has said X, Y, or Z. What do we believe? And I think we all believe sort of a various sort of cocktail of different things. We've got some questions in the live chat for our Ask Us Anything show, some of which relate to all of this, because this has understandably been on people's minds. So let's go and see what people have got to say, what they have to ask us, and what questions they may have on the general state of things. First of all, a serious question here from Stephen O'Neill. Luke, is Wetherspoons where you drown your sorrows every time Wales lose?
Wow.
Well, we've been losing for 4 years, and I'm not an alcoholic. So, as much as many people in the comments will attest to that,
they won last week, didn't they?
No, of course we didn't. Actually, there was no game, so morally we won. But Wales are playing tomorrow night at 8:00 in Ireland, against Ireland. So I'm trying to convince my boss to let me go to Ireland tomorrow to watch it. No, I do not. I do like a Wetherspoons, to be fair. Cheap and Cheerful is great. The one in Altrincham is really good. But no, if the place to drown my sorrows, if it's in Cardiff, it's the Queen's Vault opposite the Millennium Stadium. If it's in Manchester, it's probably the Bear or the Seven Oaks Bar. There you go. Or maybe Fab Cafe. They got a TARDIS, a Dalek, and a Cyberman.
Oh, I've heard of Fab Cafe.
Yeah, I go Fab quite often, yeah. So
you go, scribble those down and get over there. We've got a question here. A question from the Doctor himself. Doctor Who. Philip Roy here. A Doctor in Waiting, star of Doctor Who, meets the Scorpion, of course, coming soon. Not soon enough. We can't wait for this. But yeah, we don't have to wait for Phil's question. So Phil asks, if budget is now a problem for the BBC to do Who on its own, could the show go small scale onto BBC Two as a more cult show and regrow its audience. Do you think that's a possibility, Gary, to take it to the smaller, the lesser channel, to take a hit on the budget and to serve I would say necessarily a smaller, but a more niche audience, to set out their stall differently, and therefore the outcome may be better? What are your thoughts about Phil's question?
Okay. I absolutely think that the show could do a successful reset by, lowering the budget, because it's all about who's running it. Do they want to do justice to the show and justice to the character, and is it well cast and well written for a general audience? I absolutely think that could happen. I mean, you look at all the volume of Trek shows we've had the last 10 years, the lowest budgeted out of all of them was the third season of Picard, which was by far and away the most well received of anything they've done in 10 years. So it's not about like the budget. It's about, do you have a creator with integrity who wants to do justice to the concept, and is it well cast and well written? Absolutely. As far as the BBC Two comment goes, I'm not sure about that, if only because I think that would give the illusion that it's automatically like less than it was before if it shifts to one of the other channels. Do you know what? Maybe I'm wrong.
Do you think it'll make it look like a? Do you think it'll make it look like a failure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott, what are your thoughts about this? I mean, could the international audience accept a lower budgeted show? And what do you think about Phil's question?
I think that the international audience could, if it's done the right way, of course. And if you want to know the way that I would do it, first of all, the interior of the TARDIS, the first thing I would do is I would reconstruct the alternate control room that Tom Baker had. And I would use that for a while, because maybe the TARDIS is just keeping the Doctor out of there for a while, and that's it. And then the second thing I would do is I would beg Paul McGann, because of old Vulcan proverb once said that only Nixon could go to China. There are several people you can ask, and they could be close to the bullseye, but I think Paul McGann is going to be the only person. And I'm sorry, as much as I would like Sean Pertwee, I believe that Paul McGann needs to have his shot, and he would be the person to fix the flat and get the car back on the road. So I think that everybody and anybody would be able to, especially the British audience. I think that would be the budgetary and the magic formula to get Doctor Who back on the road. That's what I would do.
Paul McGann is seen as a kind of almost like waving a magic wand for a lot of Doctor Who fans, isn't he, Luke? You know, we all love the actor, and he's a nice guy as well, which always helps. But he's also a very much in demand actor. I'm not sure if they did drop the budget, I don't think they'd necessarily be able to get somebody of the caliber of Paul McGann. I mean, what do you think about Phil's question here?
Well, that's where all the money would go. That's where all the money would go.
On Paul, yeah. If on his coats, if sort of budget is now a problem, Luke, for the BBC to do on its own, could the show go smaller scale onto BBC Two or BBC Three for that matter, and grow its audience from a few steps back? Is that feasible, do you think?
No, I don't think so, and I don't think it needs it. I know this is where I get boring. I know it's jumped up from like a band 1, band 2 to a Beck 2, band 4. So it's jumped from Jodie's era was around 1 to 2 million an episode, and then Shooty's era and the specials onwards were 7.5 million plus per episode. Jodie's era looked incredible. It's the nicest Doctor Who is. Oh, that was very good, Simon. Fair play. Jodie's era is probably the nicest looking era we've ever had, and probably will have, because the cinematography, the direction, the lighting. Okay, the VFX was a bit hokey in places, but it's Doctor Who. You would kind of expect it. But they were making that on a fraction of what they were making Shooties on, and Shooties looked shit. They looked garbage, and they were all confined to sets, and they didn't venture outside. So I don't think if the BBC come on and be like, look, we've got 20 mil, let's go make an episode of let's go make a series of Doctor Who. They could make a good series of Doctor Who. They've done it before, and they could do it again. So I don't think it needs to go back to BBC Two. I think money needs to be spent more wisely, I think is the biggest one. I think they need to have a look at what the money is spent on and where it's going, and then figure it out, because budgets inflate, money goes places, and Danny, you know, because I phoned you the other week and told you what. No, I don't think there's no need. And to be honest, if it went, I don't think it affected international audience anyway. I don't know how clued up Gary is on BBC Two and daytime TV right now. But yeah, I don't think the international audience would notice. Doctor Who is known for being quite hokey and wonky sets and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't need it.
What do you think, Charlotte? I mean, is there much to see on BBC Two or Three anymore? And do you think that, for the British audience, those of us who've grown up with it or have kept that sort of fondness for it in our hearts, who've weathered every storm, do you think that we would follow it to a smaller channel, or would we just sort of shrug and go, oh, whatever? What are your thoughts on Phil's question?
I think the dedicated fans would watch it on whatever channel, especially in this country, because for us it would be Doctor Who. It wouldn't matter the channel name per se. I think you would struggle with BBC Three because they've tried to make that a thing for the last couple of years. They've been trying because they made it a proper channel again. But the problem is with BBC Three, they've not had a big hit. And the reason why BBC Three worked the first time is it was used as a bit of a pilot channel. So they got really lucky. They got the likes of Gavin and Stacey, 2 pints of lager, Torchwood. They got big shows that started small, but that's where the audience found them. So then BBC Three got a big audience.
But Don't Tell the Bride, that was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that
it had that was what was so good about BBC Three. It didn't need repeats from BBC One. It had its own programming. It had its own slate of shows which people watched and followed. But they've not had a hit since they brought it back, or a big enough one. So I
suppose you could say that if they were to establish something new, and Doctor Who could be on a new arena, in the way that when the iPlayer launched it, maybe if they relaunched the iPlayer to be truly into the answer for the BBC, and they're fucking cowards in this respect, it has to be to give up the license fee, because that's what's holding them back. If they accept the fact the license fee is a dead duck, they leave it behind them, embrace their future, ditching the license fee would save the BBC in the long run. They could relaunch the iPlayer internationally, get global subscriptions, move Doctor Who front and center of that. And I'm sure that Doctor Who could be potentially, obviously, if you've got the right creatives and cast involved, could be that big hit that sits in the middle of something like that. But they're a bunch of cowards. That's my main problem with them, is there are no visionaries, nobody with any bollocks left at the BBC.
I agree with the visionary comment. The thing is, though, Doctor Who has established like I said, what was special about BBC Three. It was new content it found, and it could flourish and become big. That was what. Whereas if you had Doctor Who launch and it's established show. But I agree with Luke with the idea of, we say a lot, the budget's the problem, It's more complex than that. It's about how you manage your money, because as a Doctor Who fan, I still want my lovely historical episodes, and they're going to cost money at the end of the day. You can't make them cheap. I want some episodes that are not set on Earth, that are set on a planet in a galaxy somewhere, because this is the uniqueness of Doctor Who, that we have a TARDIS, that we can do these things. It's whether we can then make it real on TV. So if you were to shrink the budget too much, I think you'd be at a risk of limiting the scope. But so my answer would be very much like Luke. You manage your money better. You don't blow it on a massive TARDIS set, which you hardly see in any episodes, that you hardly have your Doctor actually interact with, that it feels like all the other Doctors, it felt like they had a relationship almost with their TARDISes. That was a whole joke, that he treated it like he was it was a partner of his. With Ncuti, there's no link, because he was hardly in the thing, but all the money was spent. So it's just
they couldn't even afford to get him a pair of trousers in some of the episodes. They spent so much on that set. Thank you for the comments, Phil. I hope the answers are good enough for the time being, at least. Next, we've got a question from Rose Kirby. Luke, a friend of yours, Rose. Now you've met Rose in person. Hey, question from Rose is: what would you most like to see in 296 days, which is believed to be when the Christmas special airs? So, what do you want most personally to see as part of this upcoming special, Luke? Is there a person, a thing, an element that just you from the heart want to see there on Christmas Day?
I want Susan back. I want to tie that up. Get rid of, let Russell's era come to an end and tie it up. Go back. The doctor's looking. The face has gone wrong. Rose has appeared or whatever. The only person that can fix it is Susan. Susan's coming in to help sort everything out. Let her help her grandfather one last time. That's what I want. I want Susan back. They teased us enough with it. Give Carol Ann Ford her dues. Give her flowers. Let her have one more shot at it.
Brilliant. How about you, Scott? I mean, if you are going to watch it, I'm just assuming that you will. What would you love to see? If just that one special coming this Christmas, what would you love to see as part of that?
Well, I think Luke hit on something very important there. I think having Carol Ann Ford, giving her due would be great. But if they don't have a doctor, well, William Bradley is still around. Why not have the first doctor meet up with his older granddaughter? I think that'd be really fun, and we can keep the casting of the new doctor to another day.
So forget about the young bucks, the young pretenders, the newbies. Get rid of them all. Get the pros in. Get the 70 and 80-year-olds in. Dependable actors that people love. In some respects, they may not be able to move as quickly as the Millie Gibsons, and they may not look quite as good in a bikini as Varela Satu does. But I think there's some sense in that, Gary. Have you got a wish list for this Christmas, for that hour and a quarter, whatever it's going to be? You think, can you muster up any Christmas goodwill to think, give me that and I'll be happy. I'll move on to the dessert course happy if you give me that just once on Christmas Day. What are your thoughts here on Rose's question?
Well, good question, Rose. Dan, since you used the word list, if I was going to make a list, I would come up with that I want Russell to basically wrap up every single element from the last 2 years. So here's what I want to see. I want to see Mrs. Flood back. I want to see more of Kate pulling guns on litterers. I want to see Poppy. I want to see Poppy back. I want to see Rose. I want to see the Meta Crisis Doctor. I want to see the 14th Doctor. I want to see the 15th Doctor. I want to see Rogue back. I want to see it all in 55 minutes.
Have you ever seen The Dark Knight when Michael Caine's character is describing the Joker as a person that just wants to watch, someone destroy everything?
Yeah,
that's Gary right there. He just
I want a cameo by Sutek coming back.
He just wants to watch the world
obviously I don't want any of that, but I think something like that is what we're going to get. But what I would like to see is something a little bit more quiet and muted, to echo what Luke was saying. And yes, I actually agreeing with something Luke said. But no, I actually think that I mean, I would love to see Susan back and her story wrapped up, but I do not want Russell to get his mitts on her in any way whatsoever, because it just won't end well. So but it needs to be quieter instead of the deafening circus, which I think we're going to get.
It is worrying. I mean, last week we had, didn't we, the leak from Reddit concerning a potential synopsis for the special, which didn't inspire a great deal of confidence. This was all over Reddit last week, allegedly posted by a notorious scooper, Daniel RPK. No confirmation on that at all. A rather convoluted ridiculous potential plot where the Metacrisis Doctor that we last saw at the end of the Russell T Davies 1 era has basically gone loopy and could sort of come back with a vengeance, but his spouse Rose has stepped in to stop him because he's gone rogue. And I don't know. I mean, the worrying thing was that always sounded quite credible. The more that we talked about it, the more we kind of believed it. That was all over Reddit last week, and sure enough, Reddit has exploded again this week. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So this was something else from the Our British TV area on Reddit, and this user, Embarrassed Novel 1991, says, I should have taken a screenshot from last week from a UK production website, but moaning that the page had been taken down, that it concerned the Doctor Who Christmas special, but somebody had saved it after all, and they brought this over, claiming that this list on this broadcast guide of production commissions for this Christmas had revealed the title of the upcoming Christmas special. Very, very suspicious, I think this is. So if we look all the way down to about the middle, we notice that it goes past Mrs. Brown's Boys 2026, The Weakest Link, and all those sorts of things, EastEnders, and then it says Doctor Who 2026 Christmas Special, and it gives the title there, World War Dalek. The image is mysteriously sort of cropped off at either edge. There was no mentions of Daleks of any kind in Daniel RPK's synopsis from last week. So had you seen this, Charlotte? Were you aware of this latest bit of nonsense from Reddit? What do you think?
Well, I've been sent it. People going, look, we know the title. And I was like, right, let's be careful. This is Reddit. I think it seems in some ways a bit early for a title because all the hints we're getting is that the script isn't quite complete. I think that's the kindest way to put it. But then this could be a working title. Maybe it's like a placeholder. I can see that as a possibility. But to me, it feels so on the nose. And that's what's putting me off. Because one of the biggest sort of things people said about Ncuti's run was, Russell, where the monsters that we know from the history of this show? He didn't face a Dalek, he didn't face a Cyberman, he didn't have the Master, and it seemed so odd that Russell had plenty of time to have at least one story have a villain like that, and he didn't. So to go straight to Daleks.
But don't they kind of have to for the contractual reasons?
No.
Or no?
Not anymore.
No,
Not
I
anymore.
think that's not the case anymore.
Okay. Because I didn't know if that was still in place or not.
It's been settled for reasons that we can't talk about, unfortunately, but that has all been settled. It's not the case anymore. I think you're right. I think this sounds very, very fanish. I don't believe it. I find this all suspicious, convenient, whatever you want to call it. The fact that it's from a random user that nobody can quantify, nobody can vouch for. But people have leapt all over this. World War Dalek. Any takers for that, Luke?
No, not particularly. Yeah, it just seems a bit. I don't think they're going to put something out on the BBC saying World War on Christmas Day, do you? It doesn't seem very BBC.
And while Charlotte is right, you could use a placeholder title, but in that case, see, my attention. Obviously, we look at Doctor Who there because we're Doctor Who fans, but my attention actually goes everywhere else. Why are there no placeholder titles on any of the other shows? The Death in Paradise Christmas special, for example. We've got Untitled Call the Midwife. They haven't even got a title, supposedly, for this spin-off to the BBC's biggest drama. We're expected to believe that, but they have got this placeholder title mysteriously for Doctor Who. I find this suspicious, Gary.
I mean, you make a good point. I will say, only because I'm a massive Death in Paradise fan, those episodes don't have titles. But I mean, that's not to take away from your very valid point. What I'm really curious about, I've never heard of Gruffalo Granny, and that'll be like the only thing I can think about now. That sounds like a show I'd love. What is that?
Brilliant. Those are animated adaptations of the children's author Julia Donaldson's picture books, aren't they, Charlotte? They've
Oh,
made
okay. I would like
seven
that.
of them. Wonderful. My little girl grew up on Room on the Broom, a previous one from about
That's one of
12
my
years ago.
favorites. Yeah,
See,
basically,
I'd like
Gary,
that.
The Gruffalo was the first book, and she's done
Okay.
loads of sequels, so that will be a sequel.
Okay.
Basically,
I never heard of it until
Do they
now.
not have the Gruffalo in America?
Yeah,
I've
they're
never
very
heard of
charming. I have the Gruffalo's child in my living room.
Well, but you have
Yeah.
kids, though.
The trilogy
mean,
is complete. You'll be pleased
Scott
to know
has
then,
an
Scott.
excuse because he has a little girl who would probably
Yeah.
love that. I've just never heard of it.
Does anybody believe this? I'll be honest with you, I don't. I mean, I can't guarantee that when Doctor Who airs this coming Christmas, that it won't be called World War Dalek. I'd be foolish to say that.
It's
But
probably
if
going to be
it's-
called Holly Jolly Dalek, but they're just keeping it under wraps. So
It's a holly jolly
Holly
Dalek.
Jolly Dalek, that would be pretty good.
I'd go for that. Let's have a look. Let's take another. We've got some more questions. Let's take some more questions here.
Dalek with baubles
We've
on would be
got
brilliant.
Stephen Braddock. Stephen Braddock asks the question I'd like to ask the panel with all this new speculation about casting of the Doctor. Who is the panel's dream casting? It's an old favourite, but our tastes do change, don't they? Have you got a dream? Gary's this. No, Gary, have you got a dream pick? Is there an actor or actress that you've still got in mind for this?
Yep. Tom Ellis.
Still Tom.
Still Tom Ellis. I think he'd be great.
Do you think he's more suitable for the part now than he was 6 or 7
Yeah, I mean,
years ago?
I saw him in the first. I saw the first episode of that new CIA show he's in, and he's so very charismatic. Not as pardon the pun, kind of devilish as is in look as his Lucifer thing, which I'm still very anxious to get to and watch. I've not seen that whole series of that, but no, he would absolutely have the charisma needed and the emotion and the range to do serious, light, whatever.
Charlotte, anybody you've got in mind, got your eye on from a TV show or a movie, a big name, or somebody who's a sort of next to unknown? Just go with whoever. Don't think, they wouldn't do it if this. Just go wild, go wild.
I'm going to be annoying and say more of a quality because I've said a few names, and I think whoever I would want most, I want them to bring the mystery back with the Doctor. I want the Doctor to have that sort of stranger, almost like in the fact that you can be, like I said, mystery, wonder about who this character is, and have that sort of detachment a little bit. I think we've had a couple of actors that are very personable, which is good in bits, but I think that's become the norm too much. Like, we need, like an Eccleston, you can just be that mystery.
Because the truth of the matter is that is all those actresses, that's all they had. They didn't have the range to reach the part, to inhabit the role itself. So it had no value. You can't, to have one without the other is pretty useless. And this is why I struggle to even invest in this question anymore. How about you, Luke? I mean, you're pretty up on who's doing what and where. You mentioned several names to me in the past, and some of them weren't Welsh. So have you got an actor or actress in mind at the moment who you'd like to see in answer to Stephen's question there? Who'd be your dream Doctor?
So I have a list. I have the first one is the first two are both Welsh. Because of course they are. Iwan Rheon and Tom Ellis. I think Iwan Rheon would bring that Matt Smith alien quality, and he's got that darkness.
He's a fabulous
that we've seen it. Yeah, he'd be brilliant. And Tom Ellis, I think, is devilish. And why not? Because John Carley, give it to John Carley. Why not? Give it to John Carley, James Dorman, John Stewart, Rob Peters, Brandon McCaffrey. Give it to all them lot. That's a little show.
Would John play it with or without the beard, though? Because I never know.
Oh, I don't know. I've been trying to get him to shave for ages. I'm trying to get him to shave his beard off, but he's not having none of it. But John is one of the most incredible actors I've ever met and ever worked with. And yeah, I'd love to see. Obviously, his War Doctor is incredible for Big Finish, but I'd love to see him actually take on the role as well. I think he'd be fantastic as an unknown quantity. I think John Carley would be a very left field shout, but I think, yeah, why not? Give him a try. I think the Rabbi would probably be on board with that as well, to be honest.
The Rabbi from Another Planet absolutely loves John's work as the War Doctor. Yeah, he loves him.
But Ewan Rion is top of my list. I think he could do something cool with it. Imagine him in the alternate Tom Baker console room. That gothic look. I think that'd look fantastic on screen.
I could go for that. I always thought that Bern Gorman from Torchwood would have been incredible as the Doctor. I thought, and of course, maybe they would cast him now because he was in. What was he in a couple of years ago? He played a really sinister character in. Was it the Beetlejuice movie? It was a big Hollywood film. I think it was. I've seen him turn up in various things now. I still think Bern Gorman would make a brilliant Doctor. But obviously, having been in Torchwood as a major character, I still think I'd struggle to tolerate that. Yeah. Scott, have you got any name that you've seen that we might not have done? They don't have to be British. Could be anyone. Who'd be your dream pick as Doctor Who off the telly?
Oh wow. If budget is no problem, I have a couple. I think a really good one would be somebody that is fairly well known, especially in Doctor Who. I would love to see John Sim. I think he would do a great job, and it would definitely throw a little bit of a curveball and some mystery in there. I think Jeff Goldblum would do a great job.
Oh.
I'd watch that. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Yeah. I think Rupert Grint would do a great job too.
People were talking about Rupert 10 years ago. I haven't seen him in anything for a long, long time. But yeah, if you've seen him and you think he could be up to it, I'd probably take that. Yeah. Good pick. Has anybody not had their say on this question yet? I think we've been all the way around. That's everybody, apart from me. I'm trying to.
Who do you think, Dan?
The problem I'm having. I'm not going to hold up the stream with this because, in all honesty, I'm at the point now where if you can walk and talk, if you can walk in a straight line and talk relatively sensibly to the point where I can actually invest in you reaching that part, I'd be all for it.
I'll do it.
My patience has been worn thin over the last few years. Anybody of any competency, as long as they've got a cock and balls, and I'm fine. It has to be a dude. No more women. It doesn't work. Shut up with that. Yes. It's never going to work. People will not accept it. The character is male. It's that simple. So no chicks, only dudes, and find somebody. I don't care how old they are. I don't care what ethnic group they are. I don't even care what nationality they are. Cast an American, cast an Australian. I don't care. Somebody competent who can reach that part. Surprise me. So I have actors. I've got a little list somewhere, but I'd be talking and talking and talking. But the most important matter is they get the right person at the right time who can actually play the part. There used to be an abundance of actors who could do it. I would imagine there still are, but I would change the places that you look for them rather than as step one. Russell T Davies, for example, just hiring people he fancies is just not fucking on. Chris Chibnall hitting up whoever just happens to have messaged him on WhatsApp that day. That's not on either. Get a grip, guys. Come on, get the professionals in, and let's get somebody halfway decent in that part at long, long last. Thank you for the question, Stephen. I've gone off on one. We have this one from the Zero Room. Would you prefer to see Doctor Who come back to tea time or during the watershed hours? Because the kids will just watch it on the iPlayer anyway. Doctor Who and tea time, it's inseparable, Charlotte, for many. You sit there. Obviously, there's Louise Jameson striding around in the leather. You've got a tray on your lap. No food on the tray. You just got the tray firmly on your lap. But these are traditions, But it's moved out of the tea time slot before successfully in 1981, 82, I should say. What are your thoughts on this? Where should they put it?
I think the 7:00 slot that they had in the heyday with New Who, for me, I think that just works so well. because you were clear of people eating. You could have a lead show into it, and that's what they used to do nicely, like with a Strictly or with something else that would lead into Doctor Who. And I just think, I think Land Between worked at that slot because it because it wasn't Doctor Who in so many ways, because it had a different sort of focus and tone. And I just think Doctor Who suits a little bit for me anyway, Watershed. Doesn't mean you can't have grown-up themes done well. You can't tackle hard issues well. I just think it breeds more on that Saturday night 7 o'clock slot for me personally.
Yeah. Obviously, this is, depending on when you were growing up, could dictate your answer to this, because the Zero Room's got a point here. The kid's just going to watch it on iPlayer anyway. Luke, does it matter when it's shown?
I think it does. Yeah, it's that old. I know that old family tradition is just. Oh yeah, Gaza's gone. Yeah, I think that old tradition, something to look forward to. Looking at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, it's Doctor Who time, because there's something to look forward to in the week. If you're dropping it at like iPlayer on midnight, it's like, oh well, you can watch it where you want. You want to build something up, so it's like event TV, and I think that Saturday 7 p.m. slot, 9 o'clock is probably a bit too late. It's the family viewing in it. It's for grandparents and grandkids and everyone in between. So I think you've got to accommodate that. If you want a post-Watershed one, then you're probably looking more towards the Torchwood War Between. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a Sunday even. But Charlotte is right.
Because it makes a statement.
Me and Charlotte have agreed a lot on this show actually, which is mad.
If you move the show, move the channel, as the question earlier on, or move the time, it makes a certain statement about the people that you're trying to cater for and to attract. Yeah. At least with the current delivery model of being a show that's broadcast on linear, albeit digital television, scheduled television, that's going to send that message. So unless they move to a digital platform, Scott, this is always going to be an issue. I mean, what do you think? I mean, should they move the slot that it's shown to British people? Because obviously that will have a knock-on effect internationally, won't it? Could the slot be part of the problem?
I don't think the slot has necessarily been part of the problem as of the last decade by any means. There are going to be a lot of people who aren't going to watch it on iPlayer or what have you, because I mean, look, even internationally, a lot of us were watching it either on BBC America or what have you. But I think traditionally they should keep it at the Watershed time, and then, as you said earlier, they should just ditch the fee and make the iPlayer something that everybody internationally can subscribe to. And I think that if you premiere it at a certain time, like Disney was doing, hey, we're going to put it out at 8 p.m. on Saturday or whatever, then people will tune in usually at that moment if they're available, especially if it's something they want to watch. So I think that you will get families and a lot of big fans tuning in right when it debuts. So I think that's a great idea to keep it at that time.
In many respects, I can't imagine Doctor Who not being on tea time. This is almost blasphemy. Almost blasphemy to me, Luke.
Well, when did they change it from tea time to the evening? What was that? Was that a New Who versus Classic or?
Yeah.
No, they moved it. Well, they moved it from tea time on a Saturday to a weekday evening slot in 1982 when Peter Davison took the role. Right. So it was on twice a week, slightly later in the evening, but generally the flavour of the show was largely the same. And I would imagine the audience that it reached was probably the same dynamic too. Viewing figures went up, and it did have a kind of regenerative effect on the show, because I wouldn't say it was dying a death in the last couple of years of the Tom Baker era, but that familiarity had people were taking it for granted, basically. And it worked for them, worked for the BBC, and then the BBC they moved it back a couple of years later. They moved it again when Sylvester McCoy was the Doctor, and this was probably the biggest injustice, I suppose. This was the biggest signal that they had no faith in it. They moved it to far later in the evening, 7:30 in the evening, and put it opposite at what was at the time the biggest drama on British television. Coronation Street was getting 22, 23 million people watching it then. So they put Doctor Who right opposite it on a Monday and then a Wednesday evening, and it was just destroyed by Coronation Street because there was a certain amount of a crossover audience. So it was annihilated by Corrie. I mean, it's still got more viewers than it gets now. It still did okay considering, but it did change the effect on the viewing public, because there were a lot of younger children, like the 8 to 10-year-olds. I think that generally speaking, kids start watching Doctor Who between 6 and 7, right the way up to about 13. If it hasn't got them by the time they're 12 or 13, then it never gets them. And a lot of them are simply doing other things. Monday nights, 7:30. Most little boys were at Cubs or Scouts, that kind of thing. Swimming lessons. It's the same on Wednesdays. So it had a detrimental effect on the show, regenerating its traditional audience. Gary, have you got any thoughts about this? Because again, you're overseas, but it's part of the legend. Doctor Who Saturday tea time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I mean, don't use tradition as a negative. I mean, tradition works because it worked for so many years. I mean, the idea of keeping it like on Saturday at 7 or something, I think honestly the key is consistency. Stick to whatever slot you pick, stick to whatever day you pick, because the inconsistency is one of the things that really hurt the Capaldi era, because it was all scheduled all over the place. Nobody knew where to find it. So whatever you pick, and you're confident in that slot, stick with it. Don't move it.
Of course, they simply moved it from Saturday to Sunday and kept it at the same general time. When Chris Chibnall took over the show, he insisted on changing everything, whether it needed changing or not. And, it was a disaster. Again, it was an absolute disaster because, well, numerous reasons, really. But the reason why the scheduling on Sunday was a bad idea, it's similar to the weekday evenings thing, in that any children really who would have wanted to be interested were, it's bath night or something like that. Sunday night, 7:30. They're getting ready for school the next day. It's not the middle of their weekend. They're winding down. They're making sure their homework's done and their book bag is packed. They're getting bathed, all that kind of thing. And mum and dad are too busy for that too. They're trying to get the kids sorted and into bed so they can catch up on whatever crime drama's on later that night. So it was always a stupid idea, and understandably the audience just ebbed away. So that was a combination of things that compounded to drive it all into the ground, and the slot was part of it. The slot was definitely part of it. Doctor Who off tea times. Who knows? We've got this one from Funky. Does anyone on the panel think that a rerun of a season of 72 on BBC One on a Saturday may raise general public interest in the show again? So right onto the biggest channel on television, Charlotte, in a decent slot, run a season of 72 on BBC One on Saturdays. Would that charm the general public?
I think to begin with, it wouldn't quite affect general public, but I think it could get fans, long-term fans, back into it, because I think it would be seen as a sign of them saying, look, we understand classic, that this kind of Doctor Who is what you want. And one of the biggest sort of issues we've had with the show, with a couple of showrunners, is it seems to be at every opportunity they are changing things about the classic. They are having a go. They are making commentary about classic Who, like it's worse, it's bad. That sort of vibe, you just get that feeling. So for the BBC to then put classic back prime place in that sort of scenario would sort of show, look, here's something that we're not attacking, we're putting it back, we're showing it off. But I don't know if general public would, unless they really just by happenstance found the episodes and enjoyed them. That's the only thing I don't know about general public with that idea. But I think it'd be good for fans, definitely.
Yeah, this ship has, in my view, this ship has well and truly sailed. The general public would notice it was on. The very few people who still watch mainstream television would notice it was on, and they would say, you know, why is this here? Who is this meant to be? Who are they showing this for? And why now? People would not watch it. You could put on the best of the 70s stories, create an ultimate season of either Tom Baker, John Pertwee, or both. People would not watch it. I wouldn't say it would be a disaster. It wouldn't have any positive, in my view, it wouldn't have any positive or negative effect whatsoever. It would confuse people. Why is this here? If people want to watch it, they know where to find classic Doctor Who now. It's all over iPlayer on the Whoniverse. Everybody knows where to get it. They know they can go and pick it up on disc. They can get it digitally even. It's just utterly pointless. And there was a time where, to be fair, repeats of Dad's Army used to do very well for the BBC on Saturday evenings, tea times, 5 o'clock, something like that on BBC One, and then they moved over to BBC Two. But even those, nobody watches those now either. This time has passed, in my opinion. Luke, what are your thoughts?
Once again, I agree with Charlotte and yourself. This is very rare. I've agreed with Charlotte. I've agreed with Gary.
Yes.
This is a sign of the end times, I'm afraid.
Where are you down, Luke?
What is going on? Yeah, I think it's just general confusion, and I think, you know, physical. It's on the iPlayer. You can go out and buy the box sets and buy the DVDs. Why would like there's no clamour for it. It'd do amazing for the fans. Fans would love to see it back on, but it's on Eden right now. It is on Eden, isn't it? Is it Eden? It's on.
That's right.
What's the viewing figures on that like? Is it going to make
bad.
a massive difference? Is it going to make a massive difference putting it on to say a BBC One in the autumn? I don't think so. It appeals like loads of people would. Yeah, I'm very agreeable. Oh yeah, loads of people would. Yeah, loads of fans would go out and enjoy it, and it'd be a nice thing for the fans. But the general audience would be like, who cares? And it just confuse it. Just if you're going to put,
I don't think the fans would even watch it either. I think they just like to see it there. And to see,
yeah,
I think there's this idea that if they put the old ones on that we grew up with or that we've watched lots over and over again, the stuff that's better, that's undeniably better, there's this belief that if they put it on BBC One in the same slot as Shoot a Gat with Jodie Whittaker or even the DT and Matt Smith and Capaldi stuff, that it would outperform them. That window's closed as well. We've got to move on. It's silliness. So no, it would not raise general public interest in the show again. It would simply convince them that there was nothing left to see in Doctor Who anymore. Scott, you're waving your finger at me. Have I got it wrong?
Actually, no, you don't have it wrong. I think you're spot on. But I think that there would be a way to do that where it would cause well, especially interest with fans. If they did it as like, just say, for example, if you were going to air The City of Death, which is one of my favorite episodes or favorite stories, if you had 90-year-old Julian Glover and 93-year-old Tom Baker or whoever, or some people who could speak of the episode and kind of inject that into almost like a commentary, not necessarily an audio commentary, but kind of have like a documentary type thing on it, and if they did that kind of a thing with a few of the classic episodes here and there, I think
reframe it slightly.
You reframe it. I think that a lot of people would tune in, especially and even some of the people from the general public, because let's look at this from a different lens, because there are a lot of people who would be like, oh yeah, well, my granddad used to watch this, my dad used to watch this, my mom used to watch this, and but now you'd be like, I used to watch it too, and they may not have the interest in the newer stuff, but they remember the classic Who, and they might go, yeah, let's check in on this. I might have a go at it just because it's there. And you give it a new life per se, because if you're just going to play the episode straight, I think you're spot on. No one's going to tune in, Dan.
Gary, have you got any thoughts?
Really good.
Yeah, with just a couple of added thoughts. I think that I mean, I get the point behind Funky's question. I mean, nostalgia-wise, we would like to see Who elevated again, but in all honesty, Dan, as you said, this isn't 1981 anymore, where they can put on the 5 Faces of Doctor Who, which was a success because nobody at that point they had not seen those episodes for a long time, and they didn't have any way to watch those episodes in a very long time. So that was the perfect time for something like that. But with the advent of streaming and a billion channels now and the iPlayer, I just don't think that if people have any other place to watch these episodes at their own time and their own convenience, I just don't think that they will.
This is why I've always stood up for the Whoniverse. It wasn't a stupid idea, and they should simply retool this and reframe this, aim this more squarely at the people who may be interested, strip it back, make it easier for people to find, and the Whoniverse hub. I think that would have that effect. I think, and people would talk about that in the way that they don't talk about a channel like Eden, which I think is fine for people who are still very much tied to the idea of, oh, it's 6:30, Home and Away is on, or The Weakest Link's on, or what's that thing, Pointless or whatever. You know, that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with being that way. I'm a traditionalist myself. I'm very old-fashioned in lots of respects. But we are on the wane, shall we say. And I don't think that's the answer somehow for Doctor Who, as much as I'd love to open the Radio Times for the sake of argument and see 5:15, City of Death, Saturday night. Of course there's a romance around that, but I just don't think it would have any effect whatsoever, any kind of restorative effect at all. Not a silly question, but it's one that fans talk about a lot, and I see why. But you know, we have to be honest, I think, about these things, and that time's gone as well, sadly. Let's take a break. I think let's free up our mental pathways a little, give them a bit of a break, because we're a few questions in, and there's more to come, lots more to cover. When isn't there? And thank you everybody so far. But it's time to wet the whistle, shall we say? Shall we? There we are. Oh, oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, there's somebody in there as always. But whilst we're waiting for him to get out of Trap 2, you can check in with these famous faces and voices from Doctor Who's past, our legends selling us bits of everyday household tat on telly back in the day, the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break, of course. You take these in, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Where is it? There it is.
And now the shipping forecast at 2000 hours GMT. Fourth Tyne Dogger, easterly 5 or 6, increasing locally 7, becoming variable. White Humber Thames, southeast, veering west 5, occasionally 6, slight drizzle 7 miles. Visibility improved.
Give a little more with the Phillips gift.
The journey down to Australia can be rather a long haul.
Can we see her?
Not yet. Mind you, she's out there doing it.
So we've introduced the Singapore stopover. You get to break your trip and relax in a first-class hotel.
I suppose you got the day right.
Of course I did. I'm not stupid.
You get to do a bit of shopping, maybe take in a few of the sights. Get into the swing of things.
Little ladies don't just disappear in mid-air, Jeffrey.
Certainly not Gran. She's out of the adventurous type, is she?
You can try exotic dishes, make new friends, and meet the locals.
Wayne, come along now. We're going home.
The Singapore stopover from £8 to £16 a night. Just don't forget to tell the folks.
I can't understand it. She's so reliable.
Thank you, sir. Oh, thank you very much. Most enjoyable. That's no problem at all, but... I've lost my wallet. Morning fresh.
That'll do nicely.
The super concentrated formula of Morning Fresh simply cuts through grease. It freshens your kitchen and lasts a long, long time.
What's all this?
Service charge.
Super concentrated Morning Fresh. Don't wash up without it.
Space for more. Of course, we're back for more Type 40 Live, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook here. The past, the present, and the future of all things Doctor Who. We're coming right back at it after a quick breather there. Chance to point Percy at the porcelain and get back on deck, back on these questions here with the panel. So where are they? Where are you? There they are. Here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, that was good, wasn't it? Some classic adverts from back in the day. No frogs on chairs of any kind. of any kind. But we've made it. We've made it back. Yeah, we're continuing the ordeal now. This is the latest of our Ask Us Anything shows. Over to you. Whatever questions you may have for us, whether they make sense or not, we're game to pluck whatever answers we can from the big grey thing between our ears. It's not your nose, it's your brain, if you can find it. I think I've found mine again. I think I've relocated it. So we're putting the Whoniverse to rights bit by bit. I think we're faring okay so far. Don't you think, Charlotte?
Yeah, it's nice we've had some different ones as well. Always makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, relatively different and sort of upbeat as well, considering where we are. Okay.
Yeah.
So hit us with some more. We do have some more questions. Thank you, everybody, for being so patient. What have we got? Okay. We have this comes from Fleeson771. I'm very intrigued in the continued experimentation of vertical dramas. Disney are doing it to get a new young audience. Could it work for Doctor Who? So what Fleeson means is to change the orientation so that the picture would be vertical, so you could watch it, consume it on a smartphone or tablet. There was a whole streaming app that tried this just before the pandemic, wasn't it? And it only stayed operational for about 6 or 7 months. They got some pretty big productions on there with people you'd actually heard of. I think Keith Sutherland starred in one show that was on this sort of streaming platform exclusively for phones, using that orientation.
Yeah, it was called 42, wasn't it? It was, yeah. Sorry.
I don't think this is necessarily a stupid idea, Scott. I mean, continually, for example, ideas like 3D movies and TV, that comes around every so often, doesn't it? Because it's a really seductive idea, but it never ultimately hangs around. It never stays part of the culture. It remains a kind of novelty. But there has been a fundamental way, a shift in how we consume visual entertainment. And the simple fact is that some people do watch stuff on their phone or tablet, and they watch it in sort of landscape. But plenty of people, their natural instinct is to watch it portrait in that orientation. And there's no reason why stories can't be told vertically as well as any other way. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because you're a bit of a tech guy too, aren't you, Scott? So could it work? Could that be the answer to some cutting-edge drama there for Doctor Who to lead that charge?
Oh, wow. It's such a loaded question. Could it work? I think in small bites it could work, but I don't think it would lend itself well to something that would be, say, 50 minutes long. But, that's the old man in me talking, because let's put it like this. Someone that I'm acquainted with, he's one of the pioneers of YouTube. He actually, his name is Mark Busler, and he did the channel Classic Game Room, and he has actually done a lot of cinematic stuff. He prefers to do a lot of edited content, but as YouTube itself changed over the years, the way that we consume media, I hate to sound, this is going to sound insulting to a lot of people, but it's not the case. I think that if it were something that could be taken in smaller bites, the people that I refer to as guppies out there, they don't have a great attention span. So it might lend well for something that would be like 5 minutes here or there, and maybe you could get 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, and then you might have a full episode that would be 30 minutes in episodes. But if you wanted that real cinematic kind of story, I think that a lot would be lost to it. So maybe if it were something for like maybe a soap opera, some kind of drama or something like that, sure. But something like Doctor Who, I can't agree on that.
No, I can't imagine following a story for 50 minutes, but maybe I'm the wrong generation to answer this one. Charlotte, what do you think?
I think it would utterly depend on what the program was, because Doctor Who, like, it lends itself to having those widescreen gorgeous shots, doesn't it, of whether that's a planet or like a historic setting or just a creature. Like, with a show with so much special effects and so much sort of things that need to be on screen at once at times, you would, I think, to crop it with the phone in mind, you just wouldn't get the same experience. But like Scott was saying, a side project that is a lot more sort of smaller sort of sets and setting, and if you really, for example, wanted to follow one character and that be your central focus of that spin-off and have it be their experiences, that could be interesting, because you could get it almost like imagine like an alien attack, but you saw it from somebody's phone's perspective. So you would have like, that would add, I think that would add a bit to the scare factor of it.
Like the movie Science, for example, from years ago, or Cloverfield, those kind of found footage films. You could find somebody's phone, play back a video, and it's like it would be a story of somebody meeting their demise, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think if you were playing with that, and because I do think that the problem is that when you've got nothing for a year of content, then it really feels like you've sort of given up on the brand and there's nothing there, because it takes so much time to set up a full series and money and actors. But actually to have this sort of smaller thing going on at the side, you could do that easier if you're struggling to get your series set up. So I think it would help with that, actually. So if you had like a small sort of like we've got this year, we haven't got anything bar a special by the looks of it, but you could do this idea, I think, a lot easier, so that I think it could work for that, but not for the main show.
My thoughts are along similar lines, I have to say. What about you, Lou?
Sorry, I apologize to Charlotte then. I know someone's phone was going off. My light was going. It was like a disco then. I'm so sorry, Charlotte. If anyone was distracted.
There's a spirit world trying to contact us all to intervene and save us from these questions.
If I get electrocuted in 5 minutes, you know why. This light is absolutely throwing a madness. No, I agree. I agree with everything everyone's saying. If you remember back in like series 2 of the revival of New Who, when they used to do like the special TARDISodes that were like you download them directly to your phone. It's like, you know, they were like 30 seconds to a minute long, and it was kind of a lead into the episode. It's like, we'll start doing that type of stuff again.
Yeah.
And that would work, just like a quick 2 to 3 minute tie into an episode or a special bit of content or blah, blah, blah. Sorry, Russell. But yeah, I think that would work. I don't think an entire 45-minute vertical, or however long they want to do now, 50 minutes, 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, a vertical drama would work. I think people, well, you're going to get the entire family sat around a mobile phone to watch Doctor Who, or it just it doesn't lend itself to the viewing experience that people want.
If you've got a couple of kids, you know, you used to send kids up chimneys. What you do is you get them to stand in the living room. They physically turn the LED screen around onto a portrait shape, and you get the kids to stand there and hold it there for the full 50 minutes, and you watch it, and then you all swap. So then the parents hold the screen round an angle, and the kids can watch it then, and that would be how. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, I think that once you do this, and I'm sure this is a viable way of telling stories, and I'm sure somebody will do something with this eventually, and it'll probably work. But once they do it, my instinct is it ceases to be television. Doctor Who is a television show.
Yeah.
It's not television anymore if it's being delivered in that way. You can still tell stories, you can create drama, you can mount a production. It's perfectly viable. But I think it therefore isn't a television series anymore. And it's possible we are experiencing the dying days of television as we know it. That's a more than fair point. And I'm not saying that Doctor Who shouldn't, couldn't, won't go down this road. But the actual television series, no, I think as soon as it does, it becomes something else, whatever you call it. Any thoughts on this one, Gary?
I mean, everybody's covered it all so well in terms of the difficulty of presenting a drama in a vertical format versus the short, like 3-minute thing, which I think was Scott's point about, but it's always, I don't know, maybe this new upcoming kids children's version, the CBeebies version, would be more likely for something that can be repurposed onto a vertical format for this than an actual drama could. But, and once again, we're in the Twilight Zone, because I agree with Luke that the show itself just doesn't lend itself to, I mean, in terms of the scope and the vistas and the type of stories to be told, it doesn't lend itself to this format, I think. And you know what? Part of me is just really sad that we're kind of almost tacitly encouraging an entire generation to kind of get their entertainment from staring into their phone. I just have a philosophical problem with that as well.
But on that though, imagine, so obviously you got your widescreen TVs. Imagine having like your height screen. Imagine like you've got like, I've got a 12-foot TV in my house, in my living room. That would be so cool.
Well, couldn't you just take it and turn it on its end? Just turn it on its end.
I think I might have just talked myself into this, to be honest.
I mean, this is the most sort of left field question I think that we've had, and I didn't see this coming. It is a good one. I think it's a reasonable question that probably does have legs, and that's going to make a lot of us wince, because we are experiencing an extended changeover period. Things are evolving so much, Charlotte, so quickly, and yeah, I can't see people sitting there and watching, huddling around a phone. Certainly not. But then again, the way that we consume media is more intimate than it used to be, and people don't watch things collectively as a family anymore. People were saying that 20 years ago, but it is the truth largely now, with very few exceptions. And so, I don't know. I just don't think that something that's as established as Doctor Who can or should do that. I think it just becomes something else by default. But,
yeah, because I do need to go in a couple of minutes. So I'll just finish with, I think where it suits to be experimental, go for it. Where your stories suit exploring these different avenues, but not everything will fit one thing, and certain things just have to stay, I think, on the widescreen in that traditional slot. And then if there's extra stuff, like I said, use it for that. I think that's a very good use of this new idea, because like you said, it's not going to go away. We're going to keep exploring it, so do it in the right way. But it's been lovely to have questions and to be back with you guys. So I will see you all next week.
good night, Charlotte. Thank
Good
you
night,
again.
Charlotte.
Night. Where's my button? There it is.
Find your button. We found the questions. You've been good enough to serve us on this edition of the show. We have a couple more. This one comes from Domgo. Do you think William Bradley would kiss Rogue? Says Domgo. Well, it depends the circumstances. I mean, if it was New Year's Eve, maybe. I don't see why not. In a kind of manly way, a hug and a kiss. The actors, you mean, they're all lovers, so maybe they would. Maybe he would. You mean David Bradley, don't you? Not William Bradley, I think. That's who you mean. Who's William Bradley? William Bradley sounds like a brewery, doesn't it?
I want to thank Domgo for giving Russell that idea, which will now probably show up in the Christmas special. So thanks a lot, Domgo.
Thank you for that one, Domgo.
And then there's William Bradley saying, "I will absolutely not do that." So
he'd just say, "Who's Rogue?
Who is Rogue?
Who the hell is this Rogue guy? Who is he after all?" Lots of people have opinions about the whole vertical picture thing, but the most interesting one, I think, comes from Philip Roy, who has correctly sort of identified the fact that the reason why television and cinema and home cinema works in the way it does is because that orientation sort of mimics the way that we see the world in that kind of how should I put it, in a landscape way. There's no other way of describing it, I suppose. This is how our vision works, and that's how the cinema has evolved in the way that it has, with different ratios and finding the perfect balance, I suppose, to deliver us those stories so they're more immersive. Whereas I suppose if we're holding the phone, it sort of introduces another barrier, I suppose, between us and the story, if anything, rather than serves further immersion. It's a great point, Phil. Thank you for that. What else is here? I think we do have a couple more here on our Ask Us Anything show. Thank you, everybody. One last scoot around. Sounds mental to me, says Bill. So, well, the whole thing has been it's all been mental. All been mental. Thank you, though. Stephen's never heard of vertical drama. I've met a few girls I've dated could be called vertical dramas.
Yeah.
Some horizontal too, come to think of it.
I knew you were going to say that before you said it.
Have you and I dated the same ladies? I don't know.
£8 a night, says Stephen. I don't know what that's in reference to, but maybe I don't want to know. I think he's put it in the wrong chat. He's got something else up on his other screen.
For that.
God. He's got us mixed up. He's got the cam girl on screen too, and us.
Oh no!
Yes, it's what else? Philips made some real crap, didn't they? Says Domgo. So we're getting into the weeds there.
I think they're talking about now they're talking about different types of TVs.
Oh, I get you. We do have this one from Corvin who says, I have a question. Is it still your understanding the BBC don't have the rights to use the 14th Doctor, as we've previously stated? So this has been several months ago now. We talked about this, how during the separation, the breakup of the deal, the Disney deal, that Disney had retained the rights to key elements and characters that were part of that production. And as I understand it, that is still true. Obviously, things can change. Things can be renegotiated. But if you're talking about the 14th Doctor and the possible reappearance of David Tennant in the Christmas special this year, David Tennant has played multiple Doctors. So it depends on what he's... So in my opinion, as I understand it, this hasn't changed and won't change. But that does not mean that David Tennant can't reappear playing the Doctor and be wearing whatever. There will be some... We've all heard the legends about Star Trek. If things look 25% different, then they swerve all sorts of things. So I don't think this would be a problem, because I think that's what Corvin is suggesting, that there's no way David Tennant can reappear as the 14th Doctor if Disney still have the rights to that character. But I would argue that there's lots of wiggle room when we're talking about an actor here who's played multiple versions of this character already. Have you got any instincts about this, Lou?
Yes.
And a few words.
How about you, Scott?
I remember talking about that on one of the other shows, because Disney does retain the rights. But are we absolutely certain that is the case, or is that just something that we
take it at our word for now? Because there are things that we can say and things we can't say. So,
right.
What do you think? I mean, do you think that's do you think that David Tennant's reappearance is a shoo-in, and would it need to be definitely the 14th Doctor, or what are you? Because everybody seems to be taking it as read that Tennant will be there. Scott, have you got any thoughts about that?
I wouldn't bank on it necessarily. I mean, I'm not necessarily someone who I wouldn't say that I'm a sellout per se. I mean, but like Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, used to say, everybody has their price. So maybe
a
so.
Wrestling quote. Oh,
yeah. An
You've
old
just made
school
Luke's Christmas card list.
This is the best Type 40 we've ever done.
I've got more where that came from. But maybe it could be a shoe-in, especially if they've painted themselves in a corner and that's the only way out.
The conversation still doesn't really move away from David Tennant. I mean, Scott's right. What do you think, Gary? It's been a couple of weeks since we really talked about David Tennant's reappearance.
I think we will. I think getting Tennant is absolutely, because I just don't think that RTD has anything else to give. I think that I'm just curious whether Corvin is asking that question because he hopes that the BBC don't have the right to use the 14th Doctor, or he really, really wants the 14th Doctor to be there. I've always thought that they should just remount the 5 Doctors and have Tennant playing all the roles.
Absolutely.
They could. I mean, he's done 3 or 4 now? Well, 3. 1, 2. He's done 3.
What's a silly answer? But you could say that it's a silly question. We've had some silly questions this time, and that's fine too. Of course it is. But we've had some great questions as well, some probing questions, and different to the brand of questions which we've had before, although we did have the question, of course, at the top of the show: who would we cast in that role? The most frequently asked question of them all. And I still haven't got an answer for that, but maybe I will by the time it comes round again. I don't know. Thank you, everybody, for all of those questions. What a great show. What a fabulous conversation. And lots of food for thought, I think. Keep listening. Keep your ear to the ground and keep scribbling as well, because we'll be doing more of these throughout the year. Of course we will. And I think it's sort of the community, I suppose, that we're all a part of, and this is a community within a community, has its own dynamic, familiar names that turn up in the chat, and sort of tones. Well, I think we know, generally speaking, where a lot of you are at and where we differ and where we don't. We're all heading in one direction, whether we like it or not, though, aren't we, Gary, collectively as a group? And so if we get together and sort of huddle like a football team or a rugby team going for the scrum. There you go. That's another football rugby quote there, Luke. We go in and we confer about a strategy to move forward, Gary. I mean, yeah, they're unlikely to listen to us because they never do, but at least we may feel that we're prepared for anything.
Well, that's why I think this year is going to be so interesting, because, I mean, there's so many different roads that, we could be going down throughout the course of the year. And so actually, I'm really looking forward to all the twists and the turns that this year is going to take. And just as a very quick follow-up to the last question, we're saying, well, there's like 3 roles that Tennant could play. If you think about it, Billie Piper could be playing Rose. She could be playing the Moment. She could be playing the Bad Wolf Energy. So each of them could be potentially playing 3 different parts. So even if it was just the 2 of them and nobody else in the Christmas special, that's 6 different parts there.
Well, technically Tennant could play 4, because remember, he was the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, the Meta-Crisis Doctor, and then the 14th.
They could even create a new character.
That's true. That's true too. Because when I say the 11th Doctor, a lot of people forget that when he was shot and he regenerated into his own hand and created the Meta-Crisis Doctor. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I've had to explain it to other people. They go, "What do you mean he's the 11th?" I'm like, "That's how come." Well, you know the history. So yeah, but a lot of people go, "I don't understand," and I have to tell them he regenerated. Then that counts, So,
well, it counted when Stephen Moffat wanted to be the one to get the Doctor to the end of his cycle. That's when it started counting.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, they could do that too. But like Dan said, they could just create another one. It would be great if Matt Smith showed up, because of all the the what did they call it? I can't even remember what they called it when the bi generation, was that it?
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, like when they all did that. I mean, there's another Matt Smith running around out there too. Just pay Matt Smith. He'll stop watching football for a few minutes to come.
Yeah, I think we've forgotten about the bi-generation thing.
Yeah, it is a bad taste in the mouth, isn't it?
And there's all kinds of weird rumors going around now, some of which are positively horrifying and some of which are interesting. But
Simon once said to me when I threw a theory out there, he goes, "You know what you sound like, don't you?" And I said, "What?" And he goes, "You sound like a fan."
Well, I mean, this is not news in any way, but I mean, some of the silliness that's going on out there is that there's going to be AI recreations of every single past Doctor in the Christmas special, and I'm just like, whatever, why not? Just go for it. Why not?
A bunch of cats in all of their outfits.
Yeah.
So.
Have you seen the latest one that the BBC and Russell want to piggy bank off the back of Doomsday, because they're doing a sequel to Doomsday, so they're going to try and use the marketing for Avengers Doomsday for Doctor Who. I was like, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it's more cultural bullshit. I just don't take any notice of any of that. Billy Piper is certainly going to be involved. We know that for however long. I think that this woman deserves next to a medal for being in the hot seat for so long and positively thrown into it by this production. I think she's done right by the fans and did her mates a good turn one afternoon. And I would imagine she's going to get a payday at the end of it, finally. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I did want to talk about Stephen Moffat for a moment, though, because he's been working with Rewind TV. They are a channel that show a lot of old telly, basically, all across the week, all times of day. So dramas, comedies, movies even, all manner of programming there from Rewind. But they're about to embark on a full repeat run of Stephen Moffat's show from, now this ran between 1989 and 1993, Press Gang, a children's drama series, very prestigious, but very popular as well. And I loved this when I was a kid. And Stephen Moffat's evidently very proud of it still, because he's been promoting it with Rewind and giving them sort of special little interviews all week that they've been putting out on their socials. And he's been passing comment, I suppose, on certain matters in quite a candid way. And this is what he had to say about politics and about the predilection we have from people who work in the media for lecturing the public via one means or another. And Stephen Moffat said, "I think to this day, nobody, child or adult, needs to get their moral lessons from people who work in television." I am totally with Ricky Gervais on that one. Shut up, you media tossers. You don't know a thing. Stephen Moffat said this week in his customary benign and wry and self-effacing way. So how do you see this, Gary?
No, but he's absolutely right. I mean, yeah, anybody who gets their morality from Hollywood, and by extension, the UK equivalent of Hollywood, is that is a bad road. I do want to get a T-shirt that says "Shut up, you media tossers," though.
It's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. This is quite bold. You could say that Stephen Moffat's not really got anything left to lose, Luke. I mean, he's not really burning any bridges here, is he? It's nothing that Ricky Gervais hasn't already said, just as Moffat's name check there. But it is quite bold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. When you first mentioned this to me this afternoon, I was like, oh no. And then I saw this, I was like, oh, he's actually, yeah, fair enough. I was like, he's not saying anything like bad. Ricky Gervais has always been kind of at the forefront of the line anyway. of what to say and what not. But he's not saying.
I suppose the difference is that
wrong.
Ricky Gervais is one of the very few people who is uncancelable. J.K. Rowling, Elon Musk, Ricky Gervais. I think there's 3 of them. Stephen Moffat probably isn't in that list. He doesn't have that privilege. But having said that, I still think that he's respected. Stephen Moffat isn't an adversarial personality who will get up on a soapbox at any given opportunity, and he'll quite regularly sort of take the piss out of himself, I suppose, in the way that Ricky Gervais does. Ricky Gervais, of course, who made that that loving tribute, I think, in the final episode of Extras, where his character Andy played the villain in a fantasy episode of Doctor Who. In that,
so good.
But yeah, it doesn't affect Ricky Gervais's career. I can't see this affecting Stephen Moffat in any way. I don't think, and it's safer. I don't think Stephen's been cowardly in any way, but it is safer to say this stuff out loud now. I think the culture has drastically changed. People are over wokeism. People just haven't got time to indulge bullshit anymore, and it's become very clear that what Gervais said on that awards, it was the Golden Globes, wasn't it, 4 or 5 years ago? What Gervais said at that occasion has proven to be more true with every passing year. So it's safer for someone like Stephen Moffat to come out and say this stuff now. But of course, this being the Doctor Who community, Doctor Who fans assumed that he may be speaking inwardly to colleagues, associates. And we got this comment here from DW Boy on X, who chipped in, I wonder if he's told Russell that after seeing how bad the last 2 seasons were. And the laughing emoji. I suppose you can see why people would think that. It could be a diss of some kind. Did this cross your mind? Anybody? Had you wondered about this?
Well, I'm sure Moffat's true feelings about what's happened since 2017 would fill a book, and I'd read that book all day. But yeah, but of course, at the end, and I know you've said this before, and it is true. He's probably at the point where he just doesn't care. But I mean, I still think, don't you think he's kind of still editing himself and just playing, corporate politics?
Of course. Yeah, I think he's been part of the machine for too long. I don't even think he knows that he's doing it a lot of the time. And whilst he didn't backtrack, he did see this post and replied, "Oi, I'm not having a go at Russell. I never would. I never would. I'm having a go at sanctimonious old me."
Okay, sure.
And me is in caps.
Sure.
So do you suspect that this may be damage limitation or cope? Or is this another wry exchange? And he knows that we know that he knows. What do you think? Is this like 4D chess that he's playing with us?
I think he should have put another laughing emoji after that first sentence.
Any thoughts on this one, Scott?
I think he's saving face. I mean, if Russell has half a brain, he would be like, "Oh, wait a minute, bro." But here's the thing. Maybe he's finally saying, you know what, the culture war is essentially mostly over now. They wrecked my last couple of seasons of Doctor Who before they forced me out, and now I can actually speak up a little bit. But at the same time, when the lemonade stand next door is selling piss, you're allowed to look at that lemonade stand, and that lemonade stand is run by Russell, and you can say, "Bro, you're selling piss."
I mean, in many ways, don't you think? And please tell me if you think that what I'm about to say is not true.
It's not true.
In many ways.
I like you, Scott.
But yeah, now you really made Luke's Christmas card list with that comment. No, but in many ways, Russell's kind of like a wounded gazelle now, and a lot of people know it. And so when you see that, you're going to be able to feel a little bit more secure in saying things that when somebody was at the height of their powers, you never would. But it's safer now to do that.
I would have to agree. Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies, they're friendly, but they don't live in each other's pockets. There's mutual respect there, and I'm sure there's friendship there. They're fond. You can see they're fond of one another. There's no beef, but I get the impression it's exaggerated a little sometimes, both by them and by the fandom, believing that they're kind of bosom buddies of some kind. And I think they're too busy to be bosom buddies. I think it's a big old world, and they're both very, very successful, very busy guys. But they're also really quite different people. I think that Russell T Davies is an arrogant tosser, and it's getting worse the older that he's getting. Whereas Stephen Moffat is actually getting more self-deprecating, more generous. I think he's attuned more so to where the culture is, to the sensibilities. I think he listens to people more now. And I think they're growing in different directions. But that doesn't mean to say that their mutual respect will be compromised or their friendships at any point. But it just proves that, you don't have to say and believe the same things as your mates do, or as your colleagues do, or your people that others that may associate you with. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And whilst I don't think it was necessarily a diss of Russell T Davies, I believe that when Stephen Moffat realised what he'd said, he kind of you just wouldn't you? When you're heavily associated with a show which has got a reputation for being the most woke show on TV, the show, the British show that went woke and went broke. It's the casebook study now for it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Starfleet Academy. I'm sorry.
But then, of course, people are going to put two and two together, and I think that he probably could have seen this coming, and good for him for not sort of shouting it down and not, for turning it around in the way that Stephen Moffat does. This is, I believe, why people like him so much. Certainly why I respect him so much.
Well, he does show a little bit of class, because it's not like he just called Russell out and said, "At least I didn't burn down Doctor Who,"
And I think he would have been within his rights.
Absolutely.
He would have been. Obviously, the BBC has its head in its hands, in the sand, sorry, as always, and its hands, come to think of it, but they don't want to hear any of it. We'll do the best that we can to find as many answers as we can, and the questions that nobody is asking, but are all important. We've got a track record for finding both questions and answers here at Type 40 Live, and we've been more than happy. We've been privileged to answer your questions on this edition of the show, the latest of our Ask Us Anything live streams. So that's us off the hook for now. There'll be more of this as the year goes on, I don't doubt. So, if you've got any more questions, obviously you can still ask us questions in the comment section and here on the weekly. They're not. It's not that this is the only opportunity, but now and again we like to throw the doors wide open and really see where your heads are at and what you'd really like to know our thoughts about. So, we'll do it again at some point in the near future. Keep watching, keep listening, and let's have a quick check-in with this.
Hello, this is Sue Molden. On behalf of the team, I'd like to say how overwhelmed and extremely grateful we are to everyone who has donated so far. The response has been magnificent, and we are especially grateful to those who have pledged regular donations. A big thank you from all of us at Film is Fabulous.
Link in the description, as always, to Film is Fabulous here at Type 40. We're all watching and listening, of course, for whenever they might have some answers on whatever has been located. So we'll see. But as ever, we are in full support of Film is Fabulous, and they'll tell us what they can when they can. This has been the latest of our Ask Us Anything shows. I mean, I suppose one question I've got is, where are my trousers? Where do they go? Apart from that, I think we've got the rest of it very much covered. here this time. Thank you, everybody who's joined in. And let's put a smile on your face. I mean, it hasn't him, but these band rules are very difficult to please, aren't they, Gary? I mean, you can't have everything. I'm still smiling. I think it's been a success.
Yeah. We successfully, have still convinced people that we know what we're talking about. So that's always a success.
Ooh. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great fun to, to interact with the chat. The chat's always great. Week in, week out. We have like the best chat on YouTube, and the questions that they come up with for these are just fantastic.
There's a suggestion here of attention seeking from I Am Your Servant. I don't know if he means us or Stephen Moffat. I think he's gesturing. I think it's meant to be in Luke's direction.
Wait. So I was going to ask. I was going to ask seriously. So did that comment come up with the context of them about to reboot Press Gang?
Yes.
Okay. So was somebody
just repeating Press Gang?
Oh, repeating it. So somebody probably asked them about
chit chat, really.
Okay. So they're not. It's just a repeat of the '80s one, not a new one.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Of course, any further questions for us, you can stare us right in the face and get in touch through our social medias, direct, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. As always, come and join us in the Type 40 Facebook group to offer up your own questions, not just to us and other active members, but to the general Doctor Who community. You can rant, you can rave, you can vent if you wish. All is fair there in our long-standing community over on Facebook. Alternatively, get in any comment or suggestion or question. Get that into us through SpeakPipe. The link to that is in our description too, as ever. But this is where we talk about all things Doctor Who. Of course it is. The Whoniverse moves on, even if we can't. Some of the questions will absolutely be asked again because they're perennial, I suppose. Who will be in the hot seat, who will be running the show, who will be starring in it when it reappears in 9 or 10 months, never mind a year or 2 or 3 or 4. There's so much uncertainty surrounding Doctor Who at the moment. Of course, it's going to make us nervous. Here at Type 40, we deliver you certainty in the form of our podcasts, of course, across all major podcatchers, and our home feed, type40.podbean.com, and here on The Big Who, of course, every Thursday from 7:30 p.m. now UK time, with a myriad of topics, of talking points and long-form discussions and all that banter and nostalgia thrown in the mix as well too. So thank you for that. Make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Check you're still subscribed and hit the cluster bell to get all our notifications. Share us on to other Doctor Who fans in your life who are missing the show, maybe, and want some answers. Maybe we have delivered on some of those for them this time. I don't know. We've done our best at the end of the day. Thank you, Scott, for jumping on and being game to join in the spirit of an Ask Us Anything live stream. Have you done one of these before? You probably have.
No, I haven't done one of these before. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Good man. But you are quite a fun guy. You are a content creator in your own right, of course. Several YouTube channels. But where do you want us to send people to for more of the Game Closet magic?
Absolutely to Game Closet on YouTube. Mostly what I do is I try to have fun, and I like to have everybody else join me in the fun and the discussion and the comments, of course. I do reviews, lists of 10 recommendations, things like that, and occasionally I'll do an epic episode here or there. You might want to check out my Atari 2600 review on Hero. There's a cinematic portion of that at the very beginning. Then I had some fun with the Knight Rider, the video game, which is a PAL game, so it wasn't released here in the States, but it was released there in the UK. And I had some fun with all of it on green screen. I swear,
It's a car, Luke. It's not.
I know.
I've had a lot of people.
lap dancer.
Well, the funny thing is, there were a lot of people in the comments that were like, "Oh, where'd you rent the car from?" and stuff like that. I'm like, no, it was all on green screen. None of it was real. So, but yeah, I do tend to have a little bit of fun occasionally. So join me in the game closet. I try to have a little bit of fun and try to keep people engaged.
Excellent stuff. The link will be in the description as always, and I hope to have you back sooner rather than later. If we've got to suffer, so have you, quite frankly. So thank you for answering the call and joining us yet again.
My
Luke,
pleasure.
what's going on in the world of Cinescope, in Cinescope right now? Because you have a flurry of fabulous interviews and podcasts and things like that, don't you, across various places. So who have you been speaking to lately as part of your Sight and Sound range?
I was just going to be like, nothing, as far as I'm aware. I completely forgot. Even though I'm editing a thumbnail right now, I'm like, nothing. Why? I'm not busy. So we just so on the latest on the scope, we've been interviewing the likes of Bill Fellows, who's in Ted Lasso. He played George Cartrick in Ted Lasso, and Coronation Street. We done Stephen Tompkinson from Drop the Dead Donkey, DCI Banks, Ballykiss Angel. We got Festival Formula as well. So if there's any filmmakers out there that are interested in learning how to take your film to Cannes, South by Southwest, Tribeca, they talk to you all about film festival strategy. John Carley, because I pour him out every opportunity I get. He's in every one of my videos. Bless him. I think I got
He's
more
very
use out of
patient
him.
with you, isn't it, that man?
Yeah, I'm with him Saturday. I think I get more out of him than Big Finish at this point. Jesus, genuinely. And we got a new podcast interview with Johnny Vegas, who's well known on UK TV, and it's an absolute fucking car crash because he turns from Michael to being Johnny Vegas in the space of 5 minutes. So it's a bit of fun. And also, I'm going to try and start a petition with the Type 40 lot to see if we can have Gary leave earlier and Charlotte stay longer.
Well, Luke, you should also tell people that if people want to meet you this weekend, that you'll be handcuffing yourself to the Yanto shrine so that they don't tear it down, and people can stop by and take selfies with you.
Yeah, I got my Captain Jack coat ready to go. To be fair, I've actually met. I was at the launch of Torture Children of Earth in the Captain Jack greatcoat, and I met Gareth David Lloyd, Eve Miles, and John Barrowman, and then I met Matt Smith randomly, bumped into him in Tesco, which was a very strange day. But yeah, I'm going to start that petition soon. It'll be on a drop form. Look out for the link.
You never know what confession you're going to get next, do you, Gary? Out of this show, there's shock after shock after shock after shock.
Dan, you need to exercise better control over your panelists. That's all I've got to say.
Thanks for joining us again, Gary. Of course, you've been as game as ever. Some fabulous questions, some great answers, and it's always good to do these shows, I feel, because it's a two-way street, isn't it? You know, we're all fans. We're all of the same breed.
No, being serious, here's why I really enjoy this: is not only to see kind of what's on the mind of the people in the chat, but also listening to everybody else's answers on the panels, because I learn a little bit about all the rest of the people on the panel with how they think about all these questions. I won't say that in Lou's case I learned too much, but that's kind of.
I was waiting for that. To be fair, mostly this entire show is all.
Scott's like, what's going on here?
What do you think of this question? Do you agree? And every one of us is like, yes, we agree. We think exactly the same the entire time. So, Gary, you just insulted yourself, really. So take that.
It is funny how things change, because we have had shows where we've answered things drastically differently, and where here on this show the various combinations of people that have made up the various panels, and over the years, we've always had different sort of dynamics, and we've never been afraid really to air drastically different opinions. But this time, we are strangely more than ever in the same place. Who knows where we'll be as the march to Christmas and that Christmas special continues Is it going to be divisive? I think it's bound to be. When things do pick up, there's going to be a cat or two among the pigeons, I don't doubt. Make sure you're here, tuned in to whatever's coming. Whether we all like it or not, you'll always get our genuine opinions. No party lines, no beef, no bullshit, genuine Doctor Who coverage, no campaigns of any kind, proper opinions and true podcasting always. So, yeah, thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll hit you with some more. Same time, same place, next week from 7:30 p.m. here at Type 40. But that wraps it up for yet another one. We survived another round of Ask Us Anything. We always have the time. If you have the place at Type 40, of course we do. Enjoy your weekend. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for the questions. Bye-bye.